What is going on, everybody? It is episode 431 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Today we have a super surprise guest on the show. It's Christian Toto.
Hey there.
It's hard to say. It's hard to be a surprise when the camera before the show shows them.
Yeah.
But you know,
or when they're on the show the previous day.
And I make an annount the day before that
We
he's going to be
really
on the show.
ruined the element of surprise there.
But actually, I'm really...
Yes. It was really funny. When
It's
we
actually
went to
Tom
see-
Cruise.
It's Ethan Hunt.
When we did the Mission Impossible review, like Mary just doesn't, because she doesn't watch the other movies, she doesn't get the masks. She's like, I don't get the masks, right? And
Well, I got it. I found it a little bit corny. I don't know. Hard to believe.
It is corny. It is hard to believe.
But it's
But that's
part
the
of the
point.
lore.
But that's
Yeah,
the point.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I get
what
it.
people love about it, right? Like it's you see it coming from a mile away.
There are things about like John Wick 2 that also don't make sense.
Like I like
Can't
how like
jump
when,
off a balcony and not have a scratch on you.
I like when like he pulls the mask off. You're like, yes, but you aren't the same height. Why? Like that doesn't really make any sense. But okay, so pretty much anyone wearing an Ethan Hunt mask would be taller than Tom Cruise is. So you know, we're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff today. One of those things being Blue Beetle, which we went and saw last night. We will get into it. We will get into a discussion about it. We're going to talk about the fact that Hollywood has done a study and they hate women and they hate it when women talk. We're gonna discuss it. The USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative is once again out there baiting you based on race, gender, and sexuality lines, as they do every year. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about an amazingly hilarious discussion that's going around on Twitter, talking about the race canonization of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's a thing. They want to talk to you about whether they're black, are they white? They're apparently not green or turtles because they're arguing about it, are they not?
Yeah, I guess everyone was imagining them as black people in their mind. I don't know why.
Yep. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Please remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there, right now. And then we will get right back on topic. So if you guys are ready, we will get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
Ready.
Christian.
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. All right. First things first, did you see the stuff about Logan Paul getting punked?
Yeah, Logan Paul has a fight coming up with this guy named Dylan Dennis. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But this guy is going for the jugular, posting pictures of Logan Paul's fiance with pretty much every other man on the planet other than Logan.
Yeah, boxing match. It's gonna be really, really funny. Full Send was talking about this yesterday, but yeah, we've got the articles. But there's like, here she is with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, she dated Leonardo DiCaprio.
Must be nice.
That was from 2016 when they were together, and they were together for like a year.
Yeah.
And their breakup was big surprise because she couldn't get Leonardo DiCaprio to settle down and marry her.
She aged out.
Just no, I think it's like, why would you waste a year of your life on a guy who is a serial philanderer?
I believe
playboy.
now it's all of these women. They just want to be the one who finally gets to settle him down. They want to. It's more
He's
about
probably
winning.
never going to get married.
I mean, they said that about George Clooney, and George Clooney eventually settled down. So I think that's what this is about.
Did George Clooney have the same exact?
Yes. I mean, he was kind of always seen as like a bachelor, right?
Yeah, he was proud of it. I think he was married before and said, I'm done.
Yeah. So
But now it just seems like his wife is a drill sergeant, so I don't know if he should have ended up with her anyway.
yeah, so I think all those women, they want to be the one who finally gets the label of settling that person down and being the one who is good enough.
Just pictures of her with Ja Rule.
Of all the people, like, do you think this was right before Fyre Fest? He's like, let's go make those cheese sandwiches for everybody.
And
remember
her on a date with Nick Cannon as well.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't know who this guy is. I don't have the Nick Cannon one.
It's the bloke from The Flash.
It is
Brett.
not the bloke from The Flash. That is not Ezra Miller. That guy's even skinnier than Ezra Miller is.
Honestly, he doesn't even look like Ezra Miller.
No, not at all.
Is he talking about the TV show?
No, it's not him either. But yeah, there's the Nick Cannon photo right there. Like, she's thinking about all the kids they could be having.
Literally anyone who this woman is taking a picture with on the planet, it's getting posted right now.
Yep.
Yeah, not a good look.
I love it.
You know, someone will settle him down. Like Warren Beatty was the most famous bachelor in Hollywood, and Annette Bening, and they've been married for years now. So how old is Leo when he finally settles down.
And what does it take? You know, does it matter who the woman is, or does it just matter whether he's at some arbitrary stage of readiness?
He gets up one day and he just hears his hip hop and he's like, that's it. I can't do it anymore.
Game over.
He's like, I'm retiring the yacht. I'm going to go live on land and I'm going to find a good woman and settle down.
That's right.
He doesn't need a wife. It would depend on whether he wants one, you know? He's got everything he wants.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, eventually what will happen is he'll just get to a point where he's sick of chasing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm tired.
You think the women are being chased by Leonardo DiCaprio, or the other way around?
I'm sick of changing up every few months.
The merry-go-round.
Yeah, it's like the carousel, as they call it. And then he eventually settles down with one woman because he just doesn't want to call anymore. He's like, he doesn't want to take any more phone calls.
I think the first time a 23-year-old says to him, "Ew," then that's
probably already happened. It's probably already happened.
Probably when he was in the hot tub and the girl took a picture of him and he had to check what the picture looked like.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
The paparazzi got him looking at her phone.
He's like, I got to make sure the angle.
No, the angle wasn't right.
Exactly.
You can see my laugh lines in that one.
So, you know, or eventually, it's already to a point where they've got pop culture references that he has no idea what they're talking about right now. He's like, what the hell is a Tic Tac?
Yeah.
They're like, TikTok.
I'm not going to make a Tic Tac with you.
He's like, I'm not doing that. Can you see him like, ice cream so good? And Leo doing something like that? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So they're doing this because Dylan is going to be fighting Logan in a boxing match in Manchester in October.
He also posted a poll for his fans to vote, will Logan Paul call off his wedding to Nina Agdal?
He's a master at getting into the guy's head.
Oh, yeah.
He's a master at getting into the guy's head.
But that could actually, it's bad. Like in sports, when the other team says something really bad about you, you post it in the locker room, and that gets you inspired, and you win. It often is the case.
So
this could backfire.
Also, Logan is not as good at the showmanship as Jake Paul.
What? In wrestling
he reported Dylan Dennis for harassment on Twitter.
Oh, so he's kind of a wuss. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, people say mean stuff to us in the comments all the time. We don't report them for harassment.
No.
All right. Let's go ahead. This is a very surprising announcement that's still true, ladies and gentlemen. Suits is still the highest show on streaming, years after it went off the air.
I don't.
4 weeks in a row.
What is the demographic keeping this?
I'm telling you right now, it's my age. It's between me and people in their early 50s, I bet.
So it's not the Meghan Markle thing, right?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like, she's not that, she's important to the show, but not really.
Right. So that would have been maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that could have factored.
Is
but
she
not
really
now.
all that relevant right now?
No. So it's not that.
But it says, for the fourth week in a row, 3.67 billion minutes streaming.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. If you look at the top,
I had never met anyone in my life who liked Suits
other than me.
Other than you,
Other than
Brett.
me.
Like, I never.
And I always joke, I'm like, it's just because Meghan Markle wears a pencil skirt the whole show. That's the real reason to watch the
What
show.
happened to pencil skirts, by the way? It's all pantsuits now.
Love the pencil skirt.
Yes.
If they brought back Suits, all the women would be wearing suits.
Just bring back the pencil skirt and those views will keep going up, ladies and gentlemen. But if you look at the shows, overall, it's really funny. Bluey from Disney Plus is number 2. Sweet Magnolia is number 3. NCIS is number 4, and that's on Netflix and Paramount combined for 741 million. The Lincoln Lawyer, which is also Netflix, and Jack Ryan, which is now going off the air because they're not renewing it past the season that it's on. And then Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is in the top 10.
I loved.
Everyone loved.
Did you watch it?
I didn't see it.
I think that you should watch it.
It opened small and it kept growing and growing, and people must love it. So
I've never met a person who's come here that's seen it that didn't
talk
love
about
it.
Latino representation.
There you go. That's exactly it. So it's just interesting to see something. And then, of course, when I was reading the articles on it on the various sites, all of the comments were like, and they're not going to get any residuals. No residuals for that.
I think Meghan Markle will be just fine.
Yeah, the princess will be just
Maybe
fine.
this will convince her to go back to acting.
Yeah.
Well, they've been talking about that recently. Maybe she's going to make a comeback to acting.
She'd be great in the set. So warm and comforting.
Yeah.
Would she is there something for the royals that's similar to when you become a president, you have Secret Service protection for life? Does she get British Royal Navy protection for life or something like that?
No.
Does the SAS follow? Like if she divorced,
She's got private security.
if she got divorced, would the SAS follow her around
Oh.
forever? I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
former presidents get Secret Service protection.
Yeah.
Do their ex-wives? If you get divorced after you're
Oh.
president, well, the ex-first lady, I guess,
That's a good
get
question.
Yeah.
Secret Service protection. We'll need to start asking these questions as divorce rates continue to skyrocket.
As they go up. All right. In more list news, this time bad list news. Sucks to be Disney. This year they've released 6 movies, 5 losses, 1 win.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. So these are the movies that they've got for this whole year, including the ones that haven't come out yet. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, The Little Mermaid, The Boogeyman. I didn't even know that was a thing. Don't even remember it. Elemental, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Haunted Mansion, A Haunting in Venice, The Marvels, Next Goal Wins, Wish. Right now, what's come out is Guardians of the Galaxy, The Little Mermaid, Boogeyman, Elemental, Indiana Jones, and Haunted Mansion. Of those, only Guardians of the Galaxy has turned a profit.
It's
the only
staggering.
one.
I mean, this is the huge studio with all the
Yep.
Wait.
all the major properties.
The Little Mermaid didn't turn a profit?
well, I think-
$300 million budget, made $568 million. So if the idea here is that you need to make double your money to make a profit, it did not profit. There's a $20 one there from the Master of Violence.
Let me look at this. He said, pop, 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 go goal it. I don't know what
Ari Gold?
language. I don't know what language this is
Yeah.
in, but I can't understand.
And I'm gonna like the super chat, which I forgot. I can like the super chats, and I keep forgetting to do that. So I'm gonna do that. But yeah, when you really think about, look at the budgets on those movies. So we got what 3, 6, 650, so 7, 8, 975, 9, like well over $1 billion spent, and not but one has made a profit.
Yeah.
Haunted
Boogeyman was a cheap one.
Mansion-
That's a horror movie. So that's a lower budget.
made-
one.
Haunted Mansion was a horror movie, technically.
true, yeah.
60 million is still a big budget for a horror movie.
16 or 60?
60.
Oh, that shouldn't cost 60.
It shouldn't cost 60
Haunted
million.
Mansion shouldn't
That's
cost
insane.
$200 million.
No, like that's
Dial of
the-
Destiny should not have costed $400 million.
Like the whole point of horror movies is you can cheap and they make huge amounts of money at the box office.
Yep. No name stars, cheap, low budgets. You're in. It's
Not
easy.
released during the Halloween season. Another strange decision.
Yeah.
What was the Boogeyman about?
I forget. I saw it. It was unremarkable.
Was that bad?
It wasn't bad. It was just unremarkable.
Was that boring?
Yeah.
I thought Elemental was eventually would end up making money, but apparently not. So
It's creeping up there. It's actually
it's
hung in
getting there. It cost $275 million. It's made $445 million. So it's right
Yeah.
there.
Haunted
right?
Mansion flopped real hard.
Yeah, that's not going to recover.
No.
That's done.
No.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, just the fact that they were not going to release it Halloween meant they had no hope for it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's another movie, much like Blue Beetle, where the director was doubling down on identity politics in the promotion of the movie, and everybody knows that doesn't actually work if you're trying to sell it. But the Dial of Destiny one is the worst, probably a $400 million budget, and it's only made $375 million, so it's nowhere near where it needs to be.
That's disaster land.
Yeah, it is. So it's very, very sad. But one of the things that I notice is, like, anytime you talk about Disney, people talk about, like, look, they just keep losing money constantly and nothing ever changes, right?
They don't go broke, as the phrase
I saw that
would
headline.
tell you.
I saw that headline, and nothing changes. And everything stays the same. They're not gonna do anything differently. Disney's paring down their company right now. Right now, they're firing people. They're looking to hire AI czars for their company, and they're moving on because nothing seems to be working.
Bringing in AI to replace people feels like admitting defeat, when you could have just been making good movies with humans.
And firing 7,000 people is another sign that, hey, something's awry. But you're right. They're on target. They're not going to change their mission. They're going to try to juggle the finances. They're going to cut corners here and there, but they're not changing what they're up to.
No,
It's amazing.
And I don't know if that's just because they don't need to, because of investment from outside, whether we're talking. I mean, I hate using the ESG. It's so stupid. I don't know. Like, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but or if if it's just a large, unwieldy boat that can't be moved out of the way of the iceberg. right? Like it's just too hard to change everything that quickly.
And there's so much stuff in the works that they've been invested millions of dollars in. You can't just say, "Oh, we're just going to shelve that," you know.
Yeah. So it's something to look at because I don't know if they're going to be able. And none of these projects that they've got left are looking any better. No, there's no way the Marvels makes $1 billion.
You know, you say that, but the first Captain Marvel made a lot of money. A lot of money.
This movie will not make. I don't make a lot of guarantee. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't see anyone. Oh, by the way, when we were watching the trailer last night after doing this episode, and they have the remix of the song.
The remix of
just like
Beastie Boys. I didn't realize that it was supposed to have that line. Don't you tell me to smile.
That was the whole point.
In the. Yeah,
because you never tell a woman to smile, tuts, and
don't tell Brie Larson to smile.
Well, she can't, to be fair,
but
it
it's
just physically can't.
And it's also, to be fair, I mean, that is the song Intergalactic, which does work for that. But I'm telling you right now, some dude had just a conniption fit when he found out that he could have both that line and that song in that movie. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think any of these. I don't know what Wish is.
I had never heard of that.
It's a Pixar movie, I believe.
Oh, no, I do. Okay. And Next Goal Wins, is that like a sports movie?
What?
That's the one about the guy, the soccer coach?
Taika Waititi, yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay,
The trailer for that is just, haha, we hate white people.
What was the trailer we saw last night for the sports movie that looked really good? From the director of Rudy, from the guy who made Rudy.
The Hill, I think.
The Hill. That looked good.
Yeah.
That looked really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go see that. We're gonna have to make time for that one because I hadn't even heard of that one yet. It's about. What is it about a baseball player who
He's had some injury. He's got an ailment that he can't run that. He's got issues with his body.
Yeah.
But he wants to play so badly he just can't stop playing baseball.
It looked great.
And it's based on a true story, so that's interesting as well.
In the chat, Rhaegar Targaryen says, "Wrong. Brett just can't take a strong woman in a movie." Mm-hmm. That's true. You're correct, my friend.
What does Disney need to do to fix this situation, in your opinion?
That's a great question. A version of mea culpa, basically saying that we've drifted away from our core purpose of being entertainers first and foremost for everybody, that we've gotten involved in political matters where we don't really belong in political matters, and do it in a way that's not really aggressive but really heartfelt, even though it's be a corporate message.
Sure.
But I think that would start.
I don't know if the corporate message, I don't even think that would work, because everyone would see through it. Like from a mile away. Like it's kind of like the Rachel Zegler thing, right? Nobody's going to buy it. People have made up their minds already.
Well, if they have to do that and then change course and then stop doing what they're doing and go back to the old school Disney, the one that everyone loved.
Do people just not have good ideas anymore, or are the people with good ideas getting shunned?
I mean, I think we have to be behind the scenes to find out if they're a good idea.
Like they're not getting their
squelched.
scripts
I don't
read.
know. I don't know.
I'm not. I mean, a lot of people have talked about like they turn in scripts and they're like, we're not doing this type of movie right now.
Yeah, there's a great story from a couple of years ago. There was an ABC executive was saying how, almost boasting that they reject certain pitches because they're not diverse enough. And then I thought, well, remember Modern Family, which is my favorite show of all time, sitcom-wise?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, there was a little, I mean, there's a gay couple, there's an Asian child, there's a little bit, but not that much. So this executive could have looked at that show and said, yeah, we're good. And then you could have missed one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
So that's woke is overused, I get that, but that's the kernel of it, that when you don't look for talent, you look at other things, you miss great stories.
Yep, stuff gets left off the docket. That's not good.
I mean, I'm willing to entertain the possibility that people just don't have imagination anymore. And
I don't think
the human imagination has been so thoroughly crushed in the last couple decades that maybe the good scripts aren't out there to be found.
It's not fair to compare this as apples and oranges, but if you go online, the memes you see, the jokes you see are often quick and clever and innovative. And I think, and these are just regular people whose jobs, it's not their job to be an artist.
Right.
They're just regular people who are funny. And I've got to think that there's other people who have the skill set and can tell those stories, want to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're right. That creativity still exists in memes.
We're going to see a Pop Culture Crisis trailer in 2 weeks, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
it's going to be amazing. So
I still think the stuff is out there. I think they're just risk averse most of the time, and they're willing to take the risk on stuff that isn't going to make money if it's good for their social credit score.
Yeah.
But they're not willing to take that risk on something if it's not going to drive that side of the business.
If you're an artist, you know that there are certain specific roadblocks in your way. Yeah. It hurts your creative flow. You say, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. I can do this. Yeah. I'll tell that story, but I don't know. I think you can't interrupt that flow. It's really important.
Yep. All right. Britney Spears. She's got a prenup, ladies and gentlemen. She's not going to have to give this guy anything.
Of her relatively small 60 million fortune.
That's all she's
Thinking
worth.
about like the cultural impact that Britney Spears has, and the fact that she only has $60 million to her name, it should be 10 times that or more.
It should. The fact that she's not
Probably
over $100
should
million net worth is insane.
She should be a billionaire if she were doing things right throughout her career. But this is like, I was shocked to find out that she is not.
There's a $25 super chat there from Get123.
He said, Brett, since you indicated an admiration for Lauren Boebert yesterday, I assume I'm free to pursue Tiffany without any competition from yourself?
Look, man, I'm single. I can go after whomever I choose. If I want to go after Lauren Boebert, if I want to go after Tiffany Gomez, it's all futile in the end anyways. I might as well try both. You cast many reels to catch.
Just tweet, I'll give $300 to anyone who can successfully get Tiffany Gomez to
Can somebody
ask me on a date.
Can somebody wrangle me a Tiffany Gomez to go on a date with?
It's a throuple, man. Just embrace it.
Yes, Mary loves that. Mary loves the polycules. That's her favorite thing going on in the world right now.
Sure. So Colonel Kurtz said Kevin Federline moving his boys to Hawaii so Brittany would have to pay 9 more years of child support was a baller move. Yes, in Hawaii, you're not totally an adult until 25, par for the course these days. So I guess there's an exception made if you're a resident of Hawaii and your children are in college, you can still pay out child support until they're 23.
Oh,
that's crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
It's also genius. Good job, Kevin Federline. Do your...
He's smarter than he looks.
He's a smart guy, right? He's like, I do also like the idea that he didn't wait. He didn't do this earlier so that people wouldn't think that this is what it's about. He just unabashedly, he's like, yeah, I'm moving him there. So it's like right as there's like, he's like, he doesn't want to live there. Move him there at 17 and a half so that you can get that money, you know? Get your bag, King. She made her money. She should. It's right. She should be worth way more. What's in fact, I'm curious. What's Christina Aguilera's net worth?
Maybe higher, even though she's not as
famous.
famous.
That's wrong. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Was he K-Fed, by the way? Did we call him K-Fed?
Yes. Okay. What is it?
Christina is worth, it says, fans are confused as to how well all this came to be, but more importantly, her biggest career rival, Christina Aguilera, is worth $100 million more than her.
Oh.
This is an old article from 2021.
Well, it's not that confusing if you think about the way that Britney Spears' career has just spiraled.
Yeah.
And like the fact that being in that conservatorship meant all of her money was going to her father.
She was once worth over $215 million. But her net worth is now around $60 million. Fans are confused as to how all of this came to be, but more importantly, how her biggest rival, Christina Aguilera, is worth $100 million more than her. But it seems as if her work on The Voice, many albums, it's her Vegas residency probably paid for a lot of that. Those residencies make them a lot of money, right? So,
but not even just touring, like. Celebrities these days have their own lines of perfume, clothing.
Her dad, I guess her dad probably took all the money, right? Like, did you see the video of Christina Aguilera at Disney World in a motorized
scooter? Yeah,
she's in a motorized scooter, just giving Uber Boomer energy. It's really
weird,
great.
right?
Like she has a knee injury. I was like, well, she was there for one of her kids' birthdays, so that's good, I guess.
So that's a move like you can think. It can't be a celebrity because a celebrity wouldn't be riding that. But then also when you see that, your eye goes to it. So it's
I think what it is a lot of celebrities, like Leo is still wearing a mask, but he's not wearing a mask because he's afraid of COVID. He's wearing a mask because he's
afraid of 30-something?
He doesn't want to get recognized. What I just opened TMZ because I was going to look at the TLC or the Christina Aguilera thing. It says, Kid Rock enjoys a Bud Light.
Wait, what?
That's just wrong.
No.
All is forgiven.
Ladies and gentlemen, he broke the boycott. He's not our guy anymore.
That's right.
He's not based anymore.
Dead to me.
He's cringe.
He's not our guy anymore.
Also, people are mad at Oliver Anthony for going on a podcast run by people who are left-wing.
It was like American Marx or something like that, and I was just reading about it, and people were like, I thought he was our guy. I was like, that's the problem. You should
have thought he was a guy.
You shouldn't look at any celebrity of any sort as your guy or their guy. It's just a guy who you might or might not disagree with. Hey, here's Christina Aguilera in the wheelchair for her daughter's birthday. She looks like she's having fun, though. Good for her. I'm not quite ready to forgive her for doing that concert wearing a dildo.
Oh, I wanted to forget about that. Why did you have to bring me
She,
back to that moment?
All that therapy gone.
And there was kids in the concert that day.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
kids.
It's a weird thing.
But also, don't bring your kids to an adult performance in the first
But
place.
I don't think you see her and think that she's going to go there. I mean, maybe Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not her brand, is it? Am I wrong?
No, it is. After what was that song? She had a couple of songs that were.
I mean, Dirty is when she
Okay.
was in her heyday,
Yeah. Okay.
so I
Yeah.
wouldn't bring my kids to see a performance of that song
Okay, also, guys, Elton John doesn't give a crap. He went to dinner with Kevin Spacey.
because he's anti-cancel culture.
He's just hanging out with Kevin Spacey. You asked an interesting question. You said, "Does Kevin Spacey get his career back?" I mean, we're already seeing him get roles in overseas productions, and one of the things that I remember reading in the early articles when all that stuff was coming out was like a lot of producers were like, tentative, yes, we want to see if all this stuff goes away. Right?
Well, then the strike came, so that's going to throw a curve into it. But yeah, I mean, if you're proven innocent or not guilty, you should get your life back. He's a great actor.
Yeah. So
Do you believe that verdict was
I don't know.
correct? It's impossible to say, but I mean,
I would tread lightly on the set.
He
That's just me.
basically admitted that the Anthony Rapp
He's a flirt.
thing happened. He basically admitted that it happened by apologizing for the incident. And I just don't think any level of drunkenness would excuse that because you don't. I don't think you do things when you're drunk that you wouldn't conceive of doing when you're sober. Okay.
Whatever in the chat asked a really good question. He said, "Where's the patron saint of White Boy Summer?" Well, Dane will hopefully be back soon. The other patron saint of White Boy Summer would be great to hear from. That's Chet Hanks, who's launching his own podcast. And I'm already subscribed and just waiting on
That's
episode
the
1.
one. I will give $300 to anyone who can get Chet Hanks on this podcast.
He charges.
You're shooting for the stars now.
What are his rates?
I don't. It was really funny. He made some comment like in front of his like Lamborghini. He's like, "It's not cheap," and I just
It's not cheap to be Tom Hanks' son.
Maybe I will.
Remember when he called me on the phone?
Yes, because you were going to sign up for Hanks Fit.
Yeah, it was weird. He was like, anyone who is interested in my fitness training, comment the word like, I don't know, based, for instance. And I did it, and then he basically sent me a phone number.
Wow.
And he called my number, and I was like, hello? And he's like, hey, this is Chet. And he does this to sell his fitness program.
Do some sit-ups.
I don't know if that's what he's doing now. It seems like he's moved on to just general media now.
Yeah.
Right? So he's living the big life right now. All right, so just if anybody in the chat are actors and you end up on the set with Kevin Spacey, just, mind your drinks, pay attention to everything going on around you, and don't fall asleep in public. You'll be fine.
Head on a swivel.
Head on a swivel, watch your six. You'll be
I consider Elton John guilty by association.
There you go.
What's more damaging, him having breaking bread with Kevin Spacey, or he was at the wedding of Rush Limbaugh? Remember that? He performed at that.
I did not know.
Elton John performed at Rush Limbaugh's wedding.
That's such a random crossover. Why?
Yeah.
Was Rush Limbaugh like the biggest Elton John fan?
Enough of a fan that he
Lil Nas
wanted him.
X performing at Ben Shapiro's wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not quite as bad, but still.
He caught a lot of heat from
confusing.
that. But I mean, he wanted to say, listen, I don't want to alienate people, and I'm sure it was a large check. Huge.
Yeah.
Or his wife just really loves
That's
Elton John.
that's wholesome.
Listen, nothing wrong with him wanting Elton John there, but Elton John saying, yeah, here I am.
Yeah.
Save me the first dance.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, like, what people miss is, like, we need more of that. We
No, I
need
agree,
More
I
of the
agree.
people who are willing to just be like, hey, they asked me to perform. I was willing to perform.
Ironically, I think Ellen DeGeneres' fall started when she was nice to President George W. Bush. Remember that?
No, I think
that,
all that is proof that at the end of the day, they just hate the populists. I think that at the end of the day, they would rather be seen with Kevin Costner wears I'm a what's her name, Liz Cheney guy.
Cheney, yeah.
Like, you're allowed to like establishment conservatives. You're just not allowed to like the populists, right? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, it is a big club and you're not in it. That's what it goes on to say.
Guys, this is the worst part. When Elton John and Kevin Spacey were at dinner, they were serenaded by a group called the Snugglers.
Oh, come on.
The Snugglers. I guess he was just trying to snuggle Anthony Rapp that night.
That must have been
Totally
what it was.
innocent.
Just not good. Just not good. It's
like
bad.
they're laughing at us.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of is like that. But we need more of the celebrities to cross the aisle, so
Yes.
to speak, and be willing to perform at other people's
Does
events.
Kid Rock with the Bud Light?
We need we need Kid Rock to go to when the Obama girls get married. We need Kid Rock to perform "Ball with a Ball" at an Obama daughter's wedding, or American what was it? American Cowboy. Was that something? Was that a song?
Oh, yeah. That.
I see. Yesterday, guys, in the chat, I was listening to the song "Ghetto Cowboy" by Bone Thugs and Harmony, and 20 years later, it is still the weirdest fever dream of music. I encourage everyone to go listen to it. It's really, really weird and awesome.
Christian, would you tell us your experience with Kevin Spacey, please?
Oh, yes.
There are some legal matters involved, but I can probably say a few things. Yeah, I interviewed him, gosh, maybe 20 years ago. It was the Bobby Darin biopic. Was it Under the Sea, I think it was called? It was a big flop. And I met him, and we had a very good conversation. He struck a very theatrical pose as he was seated near me. Nothing untoward happened. And then weeks or months later, I was talking to someone who had arranged the interview, and they said that when they went to interrupt him and say, "Hey, Mr. Spacey, your next interview is here," which was me, she was interrupting, and there was a gentleman friend in the room, and he threw something at her. I believe it was a phone. So
that is amazing.
He didn't take it well.
That is amazing. He's like, "Look, I'm in the middle of something. Can you come back later?" Like I'm
stereotypically elitist.
But like a star, he shook it off and was a complete gentleman and gave me a great interview. So
that's what that's the mark of a good celebrity, right?
That's
is they can hide it, and then just all of a sudden they turn face, and then they're just a different person when the cameras are rolling.
That's why I don't like it when someone says that their only opinion about a person is how they were when they met. Like,
he
was nice when I talked to him.
That's right.
Like, that doesn't mean anything.
He stabbed 12 children. He was a darling when I met. I mean,
I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
I wasn't there with the 12 children, but when he was with me,
speak your truth, though.
Yeah.
but when he was with me, there was no stabbing going on.
My lived
no
experience
snuggling.
is very different than their death experience. Okay?
Yes, exactly. All right. What would you guys like to see first? Let's do cue to the day first because
Sure,
we've got multiple cringe.
We need some cute.
Let's do cue to the day first. I just got the one here today, ladies and gentlemen. This is from Heavy is Games on Twitter. Says here are a couple pics of the little idiot Zoe Gray and the three-legged Abby who passed away in my mom's arms over a year ago. Also, I'll be asleep while you're on live, so been a fan since the Lore Lodge week and loving it. Love you, Brett. Love you, Mary. Hashtag
Thank
PCC
you.
Pets. Look at it.
Aww.
That is
So
cute.
fluffy. I love it. And R.I.P.
Yes.
I'm not even a cat person. Those are cute cats.
It's a cute cat. All right, let's go ahead and do cringe of the day, shall we? So first things first. Why the hell is Lockheed Martin selling streetwear? I need to know.
Lockheed Martin is selling trendy streetwear for so-called swagged out Asians.
There's a $20 super chat there from Heavy Burn Man.
He said, "Psych, I'm not asleep right now. Night shift gang, day sleeper gang. Who else is up pulling a 32-hour day?"
Nice.
Not
Good
me, but
good on you, man. Good on you, man.
that's crazy.
But look, I'm going to start my own Raytheon clothing line soon, and it's just going to be, and one of these should start a record label where they only have people do covers of the song Bombs Over Baghdad. That would be good. That would be good.
Are you thinking about copying a piece?
I kind of
here?
like the shirt is a little, the F-35 over shirt is a little on the nose for me, for a Lockheed Martin.
It has a drone. If you guys are listening, it has a drone, and then it says it's a part of our national security. It's important to our national security.
Here's some more of it, guys.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
They kind of killed it with this.
They spared no expense.
I can't get, look at this.
It's giving high fashion.
We should get Tim the beanie. We should get Tim the beanie.
Yeah.
We should get Tim the beanie.
What's next? I want some BlackRock and Vanguard merch.
Yes, State Street. Swag Street. It'll be called Swag Street. And then so, okay, so it's all, I like the lack of color too. Like I like the black and white color scheme. That's preferable to me.
The red is implied.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's only available in Korea, but
like, I wonder if the
That's a choice.
like, are the sunglasses for sale? I didn't see the sunglasses for sale, but they also got some jackets here. If you look at these, I'm not a fan of the cut. They're cut a little low, like they're kind of almost like crop tops. Like
the models are pretty tall.
Yeah,
so.
but like if I could get this one right here, but longer, you know, with the hoodie, with the hood, I'm here for it. They look like they're about to be drone strike.
Thank you.
They look like they paused, like they heard a drone overhead. They're like this. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
It's crazy.
This next one pertains to the poll today.
Yes.
Is it abusive to crack an egg on your child's face for clout on TikTok?
I asked the question in the chat. I said, is cracking an egg over a child's head for clout abusive? So far, 59% say yes, it is abusive. Let's watch this video, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
This made me sad to watch, by the way.
Yep.
Ow! That hurt! I wanted to crack it!
Why are you doing this?
That was hard, too. Like, that requires some force.
Whoa.
Go, crack it.
At least she let her do it, too.
Woo!
Why is this a thing?
And why are there so many shells in the scrambled eggs?
Yes.
That hurt.
Okay.
Do you remember not that long ago when Robert Downey Jr. said if we just put women in charge of the entire world, there would be no war? You can't even keep your kids safe. I'm sorry. You're wrong.
No.
Ready?
Yeah.
Two.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
Stop it!
Good.
Payback.
Here. Ow.
That's messed
Wow.
up. That kid
Yeah.
had Down syndrome.
It's just ridiculous. It's just
Okay,
unbelievably
if the kid
narcissistic.
is over like 10 years old and can tell that you're joking and laughs along with you, that's fine. But like for the younger kids, they don't know why you're hitting them. It just hurts.
And not to mention that, but like there is something about the fact that you're doing it for TikTok clout that's worse.
That makes it
Yeah.
worse.
Like,
Like,
there's
That's abusive in general.
yeah.
There's a trend where moms on TikTok just complain about their children and like openly talk about how like having children like ruined their lives.
All
They're
right, I'm okay with that. I'm just saying.
like oversharing
I can relate.
a lot, and it's just like your kids are gonna see that video one day.
That's true.
And it's not cool. Also, like,
I'm not saying the kids are being gravely injured. I'm saying it's a stupid thing to make a trend out of.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they're being gravely injured either. I just think when you hit a 2-year-old in the face, they don't know that it's a joke. They just think you're hitting them for no reason.
Well, also, like back in the day, like there's constant arguments about whether spanking is okay or not. But at the end of the day, spanking was part of it served a purpose towards
you bring
actual
that up,
pain.
it's gonna turn into a debate for the rest of the show in the chat. I know.
At the end of the day, spanking
boy.
served a purpose within the confines of actual parenting to teach lessons. This isn't to do that. This is just to gain clout on TikTok, which is abhorrent.
Yeah, and they like laughed as soon as they did it before even seeing their kid's reaction. It just seems sadistic.
Yeah.
And every kid was really upset by it initially. Like
There's a couple that laughed at
recoil.
it. That laughed at it. But I just ask why? Why? Why does this need to be done? There's a perfectly good counter right there.
That's right.
That you can crack the egg on. But it really does make me believe that a lot of people will do just about anything if the internet tells them it's a trend.
Yeah.
Like, don't wear a bra, it's a trend.
It's a trend to, crap on your kids on social media, and it's not cool.
So what is the worst thing someone has done for clout on TikTok?
Oof, that would almost
NPC streaming.
No, there's got to be worse than that, right? We've seen plenty of awful stuff. Chat, what do you think? What is the worst thing we've seen people doing we've seen people doing online for the sake of clout? There's been a lot of stuff that we've seen that people do. I don't like the There's this really funny video. I hate to call it funny, where this girl. Oh, there's a $20 one right there, $27 one in Canadian currency from Frostback Lumberjack.
Okay, 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, best superhero movie, and did the Potato Man ever give back the spoons? No, he did not.
He's right. It's that movie right there, behind me. Behind me. Yeah, it's there's so many of those trends though, right?
Yeah.
That people do to.
You know, on the plus side, the mom is making a fresh breakfast.
That is.
Eggs are healthy. You know, there's a lot of shell in there.
It
You
evens
can
out.
crack an egg on your kid's face, but you have to. You don't let the food go to waste.
Exactly. Also, we have chickens at home, and sometimes they lay very thin eggs, so they wouldn't hurt. That would really help.
Some people are saying Tide Pod challenge. Nurses dancing during during
The
COVID.
Tide Pod challenge was before TikTok.
Yeah.
I thought.
What was the thing where
That
like
was
you
in,
like
like,
choke yourself?
2018.
You like choke yourself and like to make yourself lose consciousness because it gets you high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There have been TikTok trends that killed people.
Yeah.
But
Like-
did you see the NPC streams TikTok?
No.
Okay, yeah, like these women on TikTok are doing live streams where they just respond to their donations with inane phrases. One is named Pinky Doll, and she's known for saying, ice cream, so good.
Wow.
And she just does this, saying these taglines for hours on end, and now makes thousands of dollars a day.
Somebody mentioned
I have no response to that. That's insane.
several people have mentioned the dude who crashed his plane for clout. Were you here when we covered that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He crashed a plane. He jumped out of it first, and then he got charged.
Yeah, because he got caught.
afterwards.
Like that, he feigned as if the plane had trouble, but he really just wanted to crash. There was cameras all over the
my
plane.
gosh.
He had a GoPro
Right.
on, and he crashes it, and then he basically got caught. Like he went back to the wreckage to retrieve the footage. And they're like, yeah, like that might be one of the most ridiculous that I've seen, right?
But committed, I will say.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but like people get addicted to it, and they will go to increasingly ridiculous lengths just to get any type of social media clout that they can. And
The Gen Z POV trend is pretty bad. Like I've seen ones where it's like, POV, it's the 1950s and your black friend is getting beaten for their race and you have to pretend that you're okay with it. And it's
Wow.
just like the camera's on them and they're like crying.
Or what about what was the e-boy one?
Well, just e-boys in general,
Yeah,
or
the one about getting
the
arrested.
Yes. Okay, I brought this up on the show, and nobody believed me that this was a real trend. But all these e-boys were doing videos where they're pretending to get arrested. Literally, like they turn on red and blue lights, and they pretend that they're getting arrested by cops that aren't there, and they like put their hands behind their backs. It's the whole thing. They put like fake blood on their face.
Wow.
And girls are in the comment section like, wow, this is so hot.
or what was this? Somebody mentioned NyQuil chicken. Do you remember NyQuil chicken? When people were pouring NyQuil onto...
What?
Yeah, like...
They're like marinating their chicken in NyQuil?
Yeah.
That's deadly.
We live in stupid times, ladies and gentlemen. And or one of the other ones that I find really funny is it's like rolling glass bottles down steps to see when they break.
Oh, yeah. Or like characters from Succession as broken glass, and they roll different like glass bottles or whatever glasses down the stairs to describe their favorite characters in TV shows. And
See,
somehow
that's
it makes
creative.
sense.
I don't know.
It makes sense sometimes, but
The thing about the choking thing was what it was basically supposed to be like good kids high, because it's technically not a drug. You asphyxiate yourself so that you can.
you're still killing your brain cells.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
And
Intentionally.
That was a thing. I mean, like one could say at least you're doing it to yourself and not to a child that can't defend themselves. But it's all it just proves to you that fame is an addictive thing for a lot of people, and they will go to extreme lengths to chase it, right? Like it's kind of scary.
A lot of people hated the trend on TikTok where you hold up a blanket and cover yourself while your dog is in the room, and then you drop the blanket and run away as fast as possible so they think that you disappeared. And they were like, this is animal abuse.
Yeah. There's a $20 one there from Daniel. Daniel J. Corsica.
He said,
Corica.
took me so long to pull over to safety And text, I forgot what I was going to say. Brett, did you watch the 50 Years of Hip Hop concert that was at the Yankees Stadium? It's on YouTube.
I haven't watched it yet. I think I probably will watch it. I saw that there was I think one of the, like, Missy Elliott or somebody had a wardrobe malfunction. I'll watch that. Like, I'm somebody who grew up, like I said, I was just listening to Ghetto Cowboy last night in old UGK. There's probably a lot of fun stuff to listen to in there, so I'll have to check that out. It's really funny. I decided to just look up TikTok trend, or also no wait, what was the one where it was like break the most expensive thing at your school?
I didn't see that.
It was like go to your school and just damage the most expensive thing there or something like that. It's like, hey, yay, property damage. Awesome. And then there was the one in the bathrooms, right? With breaking
Wait, what?
there was one in, like, it was about like damaging stuff in the bathroom of your local school. And
Like
stuff that.
intentionally clogging toilets or something?
Yeah, something like that. Like, people are very, very...
So China is basically conquering us within.
Little by little, yeah. And it's like, it kind of puts the dance trends into perspective, right? Like,
Dancing
sure.
on TikTok? That's fine. Do that all you want.
Yeah.
That's benign. compared to these
Negative
other things.
YouTube says they were stealing stuff from the school. That might have been one. It was like, steal the most expensive thing you can find in the school.
And presumably return it, I hope.
I'm guessing.
steal.
I mean, a lot of the
Yeah.
videos
Yeah.
are staged.
Yeah, and
But-
it's crazy because it's just you hate it. You hate to see what kids are like doing, but at the same time, fame is a drug for a lot of people, and the more the views that come in, the more ridiculous stuff. Or what was the one who was? It wasn't KSI. It was Gideon sleeping at a WNBA game. He bought 3 tickets to front row to a WNBA game, brought a blanket and went to sleep, and they banned him.
That was kind of funny.
Like, the fame will make you do crazy stuff.
And that girl on the airplane during COVID who like licked the toilet seat.
The ice cream. The people going into ice cream jars and licking ice cream.
That was during COVID too.
Yes. And a lot of those people got arrested or got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
And then people were saying, oh, it was a joke. I went and bought it afterwards.
Doesn't matter if it was a joke, because if you put that out there as a video,
it's a threat. It's a public health concern.
They're not denying they did it, right?
They're saying they did it, recorded the video, but
As
then
a
bought
joke.
the ice cream afterwards, but didn't tell you that.
Okay.
But it's still then people.
I bet there were a
it would
ton of
be-
people that lied and said they bought it afterwards.
It would be like a person like going in with like a syringe and like injecting it into like into a medication. Like, I bought the medication afterwards. Like, well, it still looks like you poisoned a random object in the store.
Yeah.
Like, you licking something isn't any better. That's gross. That's
TikTok
gross.
logic. It's
and then
foolproof.
It's the internet, man. It's bad for people's brains.
And my kid believes everything, even something super stage. It happened. It happened, Dad. Like, just be a little cynical, please.
We should all be a little bit more cynical when
Yeah.
it comes to stuff like this. And here's the thing: just don't follow the trends, right? Like, just don't do it. You don't.
Did
need
you
to
see
do it.
Mizzy, the UK streamer, and what he was doing in the UK? He just was like wreaking absolute havoc on his country. He did an actual home invasion for a TikTok.
That's insane. I've
He
heard
walked
other
into
ones,
someone's
yeah.
house, sat in the living room. It was just a random person, and refused to leave.
He could have been beaten to death.
I mean, he could have been, but in the UK, is anyone actually going to defend themselves?
No.
Probably not.
They brought some tea out.
Yeah.
Please leave, sir. But before you do,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was
So-
tackling people.
Guys, hit the like button on this video, would you? There's 700 people watching. There's 200 likes. Hit the like button on this video if you don't want people to do insane trends on TikTok, I say. All right, so let's go ahead and... What time is it? We're 51 minutes in. Let's get started, everybody.
Doesn't even feel like it's been that long.
No, it doesn't. Let's get started. As we've been known to do. Let's talk about what's going on with your job. Let's talk about what's going on with your job for a while.
I have a lot of jobs.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to talk about it because
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. Like, you've been working in Hollywood in the entertainment areas of Hollywood for a very long time. Right?
Yes, I'm old.
Like,
Go ahead.
no, but I'm saying, for quite a while.
Yeah.
And you are openly conservative.
Yeah, it's crazy,
And-
right?
And a lot of people would have the question, like, how have you managed to make it in the industry and be allowed, like, you still get to go to early press screenings.
Yeah, I'm treated well. I think I behave professionally. That helps.
Yeah.
And I think the bottom line is that every movie wants a PR. They want to have their reviews out there. So it doesn't matter whether I'm who I am, what I do. If I'm being reasonably smart about it, they'll let me do it. So that's what's happened. I've missed some opportunities over the years, and there's also stuff you don't know you miss. But,
do you think that like because you're more likely to be critical in your reviews, that you're less likely to get opportunities for these screenings?
Yeah, I don't know. The screenings, I'm all in. I mean, and even especially the indie films, they are just desperate for publicity, and my heart goes out to them because they're up against it. I mean, they're up against these big blockbusters, so they're super cool with me. I'm super cool with them.
I guess that means the strikes can hurt you as well. They hurt film critics.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the content is flowing, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get a ton of celebrity interviews at this point.
I was
so
going to say,
I'll
like,
be
maybe
fine.
the interviews are harder to get than the actual screenings because they understand. Like I looked through your reviews. We've covered your website on the show plenty of times. You have very, very unbiased and very, very reasonable takes on movies.
How dare you?
How dare you?
How
Right?
dare you?
Yeah.
No, I'm trying. You know, and I don't think I'm extra critical. I mean, I think I will mention this stuff. We'll talk about the Blue Beetle soon.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that my audience wants to hear about the politics, about the messaging. But at the end of the day, is it good? Is it fun? That's my bottom line. So
We did have the discussion where like you tweeted about Barbie and then everybody dragged you.
my biggest regret.
Yeah,
if
like-
I'd go back in time, I wouldn't kill baby Hitler. I'd save that, that tweet. And just get rid
Don't
of it.
send that tweet.
That's right.
But like,
Why did people have such a visceral reaction to that?
You know, they decided they liked it before they saw it. That's part of it.
because it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, it wasn't out yet. It was I think it was like 2 or 3 days before it came out. It became part of this partisanship. I think maybe like feminists maybe enjoyed it, or it was weird. It was weird. And it also spells that why it's so successful. It has this built-in audience. The marketing was genius. People were dying to see it. They were dying to love it, and maybe a lot of them did. But it was odd. And actually, that upsets me because they hadn't seen it yet. And if they said something about my review that they thought was wrong and they argued with me, bring it on. I love it. But it's often this, you're a man, all these really...
you don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Or just, you can't deny it's feminist. I mean, it's uber feminist. There's lectures in the movie. We can't go there. You could say, I like it. Fine.
What is what out of all the movies that have come out this year, what one has surprised you the most?
Maybe Sound of Freedom because it was good.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like, low budget, on the shelf for 5 years. Yeah, I don't know. This year's been a big meh. Fast 10. Who cares? I'm bored.
I loved it.
Brett's
Did
gonna
you
get
really?
angry.
I like the franchise, but 9 and 10, I kind of out.
9 I did not like.
Okay.
9 is the only one I didn't like.
Jason Momoa saved it, though.
He was
the whole movie.
fantastic.
Yeah,
He was fantastic in that movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It makes no sense to gravity. It makes no sense in
Physics, logic, out.
The space-time continuum essentially stops. Like, I have a theory, though. By the way, I'm just going to throw this in there. What I want for the final scene in the movie, like if we're going to go ne'er-do-well, if we're going to go bad at the end, and Dom finally like meets his match, and we lose Dom at the end, what I want it to happen is he just runs out of gas. And like the very final scene is he can't get away.
He's hitchhiking.
He runs out of gas and like he can't. It's like there's a big bomb. It's gonna go off, but of course it's Dom. You're like he's gonna make it out of there, no problem. He's gonna hit the nos and he's gonna escape. And what happens is he's about to escape. He's gonna be outside the blast radius, and all of a sudden you just hear his car sputter. And it just stops, and the quarter mile is just, it's too far to see, and he's just, and that's how they end the Fast and the Furious franchise.
That'd be beautiful.
It'd be amazing.
Or the engine light goes on.
How did you feel?
Son of a.
How did you feel about Mission Impossible?
I enjoyed it. I thought the story was tortured a bit. It was, first of all, the enemy is AI. It's not really a good enemy.
It's trendy.
It's trendy. It's of the moment for sure, but it didn't really have a punch to me. It was one of those movies where a lot of the dialogue is, and then we'll do this, and then this is the reason why we're doing that. It was very explanatory, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
That was for people like me.
No, but it just a better story. It just flows. You don't need that. But then the last half hour was just insane.
Well, it gave that moment that you said you wouldn't want to see from more female action leads, where they have that moment of reckoning where they're like, eek, I can't deal with this. I need someone's help. And I forget the character's name now. What was the?
Oh, I already forgot her name. She's my favorite. She's my favorite character in the movie. I loved her in that movie.
Was it Haley Atwell?
Haley Atwell. I loved Haley Atwell's
yeah.
character. I
like
loved
her character had that moment. Which
I liked
was
her
nice.
character in general. She was good, interesting, mysterious, and you mentioned some flaws there too.
I think the reason I liked her so much is because we just come off watching Dial of Destiny, and I disliked Phoebe Waller-Bridge so much in that movie that seeing a flawed female future hero, because she's being groomed to be a future hero in the franchise, maybe not a spin-off, but she'll certainly appear in more more movies because Tom Cruise is going to live forever, so
Sure.
he's just going to keep making them. And I thought they handled her growth really, really well. She
agree.
seemed flawed. Her actions seemed plausible within the confines of the world they'd built around it. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good new character. Absolutely solid.
Watching the Mission Impossible movie after Dial of Destiny kind of made me zone out during the train scenes, fighting on top of a train.
But I think it did it better.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
mind the Dial of Destiny scene on the train. I thought it was probably the best part of the movie. But
I also like anytime they're on top of a train, I'm like, you'd fall off. You're going that fast, you would have fallen off.
you're just like, your arms would be waving like the whole time.
Is there an interview that you've done that you feel like is the biggest you've done? Is like, who's the biggest person you've met?
Met Will Smith. I mean, before the incident, that was fun.
Yeah, tell us about like celebrity encounters. I love.
You know,
hearing
they're
about
mostly pretty ordinary. The Rock I met, I think I think he had 12 or more interviews, like back to back to back to back to back. And by the time he got to me, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be exhausted. Nope, on it, sharp, engaging.
He gets up at 4 a.m. every day to
He
work
was-
out. He's got endless energy.
He was amazing. He was amazing. So, they're all well behaved. I interviewed Christian Slater. He was kind of a meh interview. He didn't really. I asked him some questions that were a little bit leading, but fair, because he had a lot of turbulence in his young life, and I was trying to just kind of get a life lesson out of it, like what did you come out of that with, kind of a thing, and he had nothing.
He was just thinking about hitting on that photographer.
Yeah, so I often would go to these events with a photographer, and they would shoot the actor as they were talking to me. So I get like an animated shot. And Christian Slater was flirting she wasn't my photographer, with the photographer from my paper. And I'm like, I'm trying to talk to you, dude. And he's like making faces at her and stuff. Like, come on, man. It was cheesy. It was absolutely cheesy. But
Kind of endearing.
It's very old school Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Like
Had
it's-
any rude celebrity encounters?
almost none to none. I will say I was rude to George Clooney. I was on the set of the Perfect Storm, had a junket where you all fly out to like Boston area and you talk to all the stars. And he did the round tables and he was very nice and fine. And then I saw him going into his trailer and I bum rushed him. Like I wanted to talk to him. Like, who the hell am I? And he's a movie star going into his trailer. Couldn't have been more nice. We had a great conversation. He was talking about "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," which I guess he was shooting at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that was before he was George Clooney, but still.
He wasn't the star he is now.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I give him credit. He was very nice. So, I mean, they're on their best behavior. I mean, if
have
they're a
to be.
jerk to me, then I'm going to report on it. So, it had to be nice.
What would you? Because there's a lot of people who exist in this space, especially on YouTube, where it becomes more about commentary than it becomes about the news, which is like that's what we do.
Yeah.
What we do here is like we talk a little bit about the story, but most of it is about what our opinion is on this issue, and that's fine. That's this bag right here. That's what we're doing. But there's got to be more people. Like if we wanted to, we talk a lot about filling the space and changing the culture, right? Well, I think one of the ways that could change the culture is to find more conservatives, to work in the space that aren't there just to do commentary, but to actually report in a way that reflects their values, but is fair enough that they're going to be able to get those interviews. And that seems like a hard line to walk. What advice would you give for somebody who might be looking to do something like that?
Well, be a journalist, like a true journalist. Don't make things up. Don't report rumors. Don't go there.
Don't be us.
Don't. No, you guys don't do that. I mean, be fair, be objective when you can, be transparent, obviously, and just let your readers know when you're doing certain things. I have an opinion thing on my site where if it's an opinion, it says it that.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves with news is they're very liberal with the use of like they don't put that opinion label on a lot of articles now.
If you make a mistake, own it, show it, put an editor's note at the bottom of the story. Just be a straight shooter at the bottom line. And, I do want to impact the culture. I mean, I never thought I'd be here. I never thought I'd be that guy. But, and one of the things I talk about a lot is, and to me, it's apolitical, is free speech. I am like a dog on a bone with free speech. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop talking about it. I can't stop promoting actors and stars who embrace free speech. I am obsessed with it. I really am. And I think it's so critical across the board. But I do Hollywood stuff, so that's where I cover it.
I suppose, has that been coming up a lot in regards to certain topics lately?
Everything. I mean, literally everything.
It's weird because celebrities don't seem to care much about free speech these days.
They're scared. Some of them are scared, for sure. It takes a risk to speak up about it.
Eugene is in the chat slandering us again, Mary. He's calling us serious journalists. That's
I love
another
that
how
our
dare you.
job is not to be objective.
Yes.
And report facts.
yes.
But I mean, I think when people watch your show and they get to know you two, they know who you are, where you come from. I think that's important. You're not hiding things, you know?
Yeah.
So I think if you read a news report, I'll read Variety, The Hollywood Reporter. I know they have an agenda. I know they have a bias, but they're coming from it like, we're journalists and we're going to tell you the full story. You're full of crap. You're not telling me the whole story. There are so many great stories they don't even cover because it doesn't fit their narrative.
They were pretty fair in their interview with the Sound of Freedom director, I think.
They were very fair. And it took a while, though, because I think the
Yeah.
initial was
Yeah, they let all the other crap come up
Yeah,
first, and then
yeah.
they decided to
When
be
he
fair.
sufficiently created distance
Yes.
between himself
Yeah.
and Tim Ballard and Jim Caviezel, then they
Yeah.
gave him some slack. But
when you cover this like I do, you just see everything. You just see all
Yeah.
of it, and it's frustrating too. Because at the end of the day, you want it to be true.
yeah, a lot of entertainment journalism now is just celebrating the actors for everything that they do and say to the most, like,
It depends what they say.
well, I mean, yeah, depending on whether they're in the fold.
Yeah.
But it's like asking Sydney Sweeney what her favorite lip gloss is. It's not interesting. They're not asking about their work. It's more just about celebrity idol worship.
I love the idea of asking Sydney Sweeney. So, what is your thought on packing the court? Like, just I want to know what Sydney Sweeney thinks
Well,
of
it's-
Clarence
it's-
Thomas. I do.
Either that or, yeah, like trying to headline mine them to get them to give the polarizing
Sure.
headline that they want.
And
Like,
I'm sympathetic to that from the actor's point of view, because if I'm interviewing someone, they say something outrageous, I've got to use it. I've got to put
Right.
that head right up in the story. And maybe that's not fair, because maybe the rest of the conversation was really thoughtful and engaging, and people will get that out of it, not what else they said. But it's also the game. And I mean, you have to be a straight shooter about it too. And also, I'm running a business, and I need to get clicks too. And I've got that balance between maybe my headlines are a little bit more clickbaity than I used to be. And I admit to that, but I'm hoping that the content is good enough where it's going to balance it out. And I've got to draw eyeballs, you know?
if you could interview Rachel Zegler for her promotion of Snow White right now, I know she can't
Yeah.
do this because of the strikes, but if you had the chance, what kind of questions would you be asking her?
I'd start with a lot of softballs. I'd get her to kind of get a bond or a trust
her
with
in,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, always have to do that. I interviewed Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks years ago.
The chicks, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, my apology. And the first question went awry, and it wasn't my fault. It wasn't anyone's fault. The whole interview was terrible.
What
after
was
that.
it?
I don't even know. I think she misinterpreted what I was trying to say.
Oh, and you can't
then
come back
you
from
can't
that.
come back.
Yeah.
So
especially when there's a misunderstanding
Yeah.
at the core of it, because then it's just confusion, and confusion doesn't
Yeah.
allow you to find common ground again.
exactly.
you'd
But
start off with the
Rach-
softballs.
Right. I'd ask her a little bit of her life, her career, the gig, and then say, when you give interviews like this, when you share those thoughts, that it's rather divisive, and it seems like you're insulting the work you're trying to honor. Do you why do you say that, or would you say it differently? I mean, I just go directly at that point. I mean, you have to. I don't know how do
What
you
are,
answer around
what are
it?
the hardball questions you'd be asking her?
I'd be saying, you're out promoting your movie. You're talking to all these people. You don't have to. It's your job. Your job is to get eyeballs to the movie. Why would you insult the source material that way? That kind of thing like that? Is that? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's straight and fair.
Have to ask
well,
her.
she'd come up with some kind of BS answer.
But
like,
but that's revealing to
Oh,
her.
well,
Then all I can do is ask the questions.
I love the original,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I just think that in 2023 we need
Yeah.
a more proactive approach to, or we
then I
need
could
to
say-
influence young girls to know that they can be leaders.
But then I'd say, but this material has been beloved for years and decades. Is that a conflict there? I mean, what's if it ain't broke, so to speak?
Right.
All right. Well,
I mean, and ultimately, as a journalist, you do the best you can. You ask the best questions, and the actors will reveal themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't want to debate them. That seems silly.
yeah, like becomes a hard part nowadays when everybody you have to be willing to listen and not make it about your point of view.
And it depends on the
if you're a
format.
journalist.
If I'm doing a feature interview, I can't go back and forth and back and forth. I can't have a debate with them. It kills the time. You've only got X amount of minutes with them, and that would be silly. So
That's why I wouldn't be able to be a journalist.
So now that we've got everyone here, tell everyone where they can find all this stuff.
So my podcast is the Hollywood in Toto podcast. I interview comedians, actors, screenwriters, and I love to interview people who have been canceled, people who have been punished for their thoughts. I've spoken to comedians, Jocelyn Chi, I believe it is. She told a joke about a Malaysian airline craft, and all heck broke loose. I spoke to a filmmaker, Kaylin Ford. It's a heartbreaking story. She was a Canadian candidate for office. An absolute insincere cancel culture attack crushed her life, crushed her not just her electoral chances, just in public, her whole public persona went just down south. And she bounced back, and she made a movie about it. It's a great film. So Just those people, I want to share their stories. And they're not superstars. They're not Tom Hanks or even Chet Hanks, but I love them. So, and then my website is hollywoodintoto.com. And of course on Twitter, it's @hollywoodintoto.
All right. In the chat, Androvsky says, is he the guy who sings Africa?
That's him.
I'm sure you've never heard that one before.
It's the first time.
It's the first time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get right into it. Again, we're going to talk about Blue Beetle, which we did go and see last night. I'm going to ask the round table, first things first, how would you describe this movie? It's an origin story. So that's the easiest way to describe it. The point is what? He gets Jaime gets the
scarab?
The scarab, and it attaches itself to him, and then they're trying to get the scarab off, and we're off to the races. Basically, right? Like,
yeah, it's an origin story. It's very generic.
It's unbelievably generic. Like, the best way to describe this movie is generic.
Yeah.
So,
but can you even make a superhero movie these days without it being generic? I feel like everything has already been done in that genre.
It's harder for sure.
I'm gonna let you in what the conclusion I came to last night. So, I got done watching this movie, and I was trying to explain to someone what I felt about this movie. I was like, at first, my first comparison was that it was like taking Xanax. I felt nothing. But here's what I realized what it was. Barbie broke me. So I'm a battered spouse. And here you are. You can go two routes. You can get yourself a nice person who treats you well. They're kind. They're respectful. They never yell at you. When you have an argument, you come together, you figure it out, and you move on with yourself. And over here, you've got your toxic ex. He or she is kind of abusive, but my goodness, they just get you going, right?
It's the pencil skirt.
It's exactly. This is Barbie was the pencil skirt that's abusive, and this movie is the nice, kind person that treats you well, but you feel nothing at all. At least the abusive Barbie movie made me feel something when it was all said and done. This movie made me feel less than nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Zero. There was anti-white racism. There was race baiting. I felt nothing. It was perfectly fine. It was a movie. It exists. There was characters. There was some semblance of a story. It had a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's just, bleh. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not good. It just is.
It's hard to hate.
It is.
It's
I
hard
don't
to get
hate
angry
it.
about. Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. If I had a big positive for it, I say that they did a lot with a little with the CGI. I thought the CGI was perfectly acceptable for a movie with $125 million budget.
When he went above orbit, like into the atmosphere, it kind of looked bad, but the rest of it was fine.
Yeah.
It never took me out of the movie.
Look, it felt like empty calories. That's the best way. It's like I consumed something and I got nothing out of it. Right?
Yeah.
But is that what you want to go to the theater for? Or would you be at home streaming it thinking, no, that was fine?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different experience.
They laid the identity politics on thick in areas of this movie, but I thought that the characters were just like annoying enough, but also other ones were just likable enough. Not even likable, just passing enough.
I liked the music, the nostalgic 80s vibe. I liked that he got the girl in the end. That was a nice touch,
the
which you wouldn't expect. I liked the pro-family message, although they wouldn't have ever made a pro-family message if the family were white. That's that's another topic of discussion. But those were the good things about it. The rest of it was just bland.
So they wasted Susan Sarandon, who plays the villain in this movie. It's an enormous waste of her talent. I don't want to hear any more about Hollywood hiring or using AI when they got Becky G, who's an extremely famous recording artist, to play the voice of Kajida. Like they didn't
totally
need to do that.
unnecessary.
That's the
That's the suit. She had so Becky G voices the suit.
Like, let's just flush $100,000 down the toilet.
If you are a comic fan, so in this story, this is the third Blue Beetle, meaning Jaime Reyes is the third Blue Beetle. So Ted Kord is mentioned in this movie, but does not appear Okay.
Should we use spoilers or no?
We're gonna talk
All right.
spoilers.
Well,
here.
at the end, it's a
Yeah.
cliffhanger where he's supposedly going to make a comeback.
All
It's a post-credit scene, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's two Hispanic characters that are bad guys that are redeemed because this movie was terrified of making a Hispanic character a bad guy. Make no mistake about it. They were never going to let that happen. There's one character who, of course, because Susan Sarandon, because Victoria Cord is she's generic evil white lady. That's her job in this movie is to be generic evil white lady.
She told us as much, saying, I'm the white military industrial complex in this movie. That's what my role is.
They missed out on an opportunity to bring some depth to why get an actress of her caliber if you're not going to actually find depth. She's not good enough at playing generic evil white lady to make it worth it.
The depth was, didn't Jenny have a conversation with her toward the end where they kind of address like her family problems that made her want to,
for like 8 seconds at the end of the movie, that doesn't really justify why every other action she has is generic, let them die, who cares. It's stupid.
I mean, she was going to wipe out that family with guns, right? I mean,
Yes.
they were...
Yeah. And I will say, okay, so one thing we talked about yesterday is
Even then.
the director of this movie, Angel Manuel Soto, talked about the raid of the family's house by Cord Industries. I think that was the best scene in this entire movie. The scene where Cord Industries breaks into the house to take out the family because they're looking for the scarab was the best scene in the whole movie.
intentionally reminiscent of an ICE raid, according to the director.
I have a really dumb question.
Yeah.
Do they still have ICE raids in this country? Is that happening right now?
I have no idea. I have no
I
idea.
mean, I really don't know. I mean,
I don't
know.
know either.
Also, guys, the girl from Predator was in this movie, and they didn't even take an opportunity. She was in a helicopter, and they didn't even take the opportunity to say, "Get to the chopper."
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
they're making progress in Hollywood in those pop culture references. They didn't just. I would have made it. I would have actually made. It was her Anna in the original Predator, where Arnie says, "Get to the chopper."
Yeah, the big.
They don't even do that in this movie, and she's in a helicopter. It's a huge missed opportunity. The dad, Jaime's dad, is of course the nicest person in the whole movie, so he's got to go because you can't have they have to have the.
Didn't feel like this movie was made to bring everyone together and enjoying it. I felt like, especially with the Spanish being sprinkled in there and some of the lines being subtitled and some other ones not, including an inside joke just for people in the audience who speak Spanish. It feels snarky and uninviting, and that's not what you want for a wide release movie that's supposedly for everyone to enjoy. Like, there were a lot of people in the audience who did understand the joke, but it was intentional that we weren't supposed to understand it and be part of that. Like, no, this is our thing.
Well,
You're not allowed to be part of this.
And I think if they had one moment like that, I'm like, okay, that's kind of a little inside joke for Latino culture. That's kind of cool. But there was many scenes where they were talking in Spanish, and
I'm
I don't know what's
sure
going on.
that a lot of the people in the audience who are Mexican thought like this is a great representation of our culture and what our families are like, and they laughed at the jokes and stuff. But to me, it almost felt like they were leaning into that so hard that it was almost racist.
I know what you're saying.
You're supposed to be laughing at a stereotype of how Mexican people act, and it was like. I'm not fragile about those kinds of things, but
do some Mexican people hate their uncles? I mean, like everything was so kind of, the family was so tight knit and so perfect and so loving and so sweet and so. But we all have families. We all have uncles who are a little sketchy. We all have,
They got their money's worth with George Lopez. Like there wasn't a whole ton of laughs in the theater, but when the laughs came, they came from George Lopez. If anything, the use of the main character, the kid from Cobra Kai, he's not given much to work with. He just kind of exists.
He's nice.
He's not. He's generically nice. He doesn't really have a whole lot to his character. His sister is insufferable.
Yeah.
Insufferable. And here's my problem. No, here's my problem. So in this movie, the sister has this gross toilet humor at the beginning, which then plays against the fact that later on in the movie, very, very serious things happen. And she gives a great performance where she's essentially crying in the middle of all this chaos. And I'm just like, there's a reason why you like the dad. And then when the dad dies, it's sad. because he's a nice person and you don't want to see anything bad happen to him. But when your characters are needlessly snarky all the time, it's harder to connect with them.
She's a teenager. Does it not make sense
She's an
for
adult.
her character?
She's an adult. They both have that job, so they're adults who work regular jobs. She's not a teenager.
Yeah,
she's like 18.
old enough.
And I've got one other big issue with this movie, and that's this. Stop letting normal people go through superhero situations just because the tech does all the work. I don't want to see a story where some bumbling idiot, and I'm not even talking about him, I'm talking about the rest of the family, like just stumble upon tech and then are suddenly in superhero situations with the military. Stop it. There's a reason why you want heroes that choose their path, not people who stumble upon their path. It's not interesting. It's not funny. It's not fun. It takes away the gravity of what you're watching. They never feel like they're actually in danger.
It was a little bit annoying that his grandma saved him in that one moment, but they kind of remedied that when he saved his sister.
But also, you mentioned before that the ice raid scene was the most important.
Because there were stakes to it.
Because there were stakes to it. Because you thought they could die.
Yeah, with the rest of the
But the rest of it
time-
was just cartoony and silly.
I will say they got their money out of George Lopez. His lines were fine. He's clearly the biggest star in the movie, name-wise. Out of all the people there, and he's got if they were being dumb and they were thinking about who could have a spin-off TV series, they'd probably give it to him, right? And they the tech guy who's going to help out at Cord Industries. The girl that he gets with she's fine in her role, if not utterly forgettable. But I do, like you said, he got the girl at the end. I thought they were going to make her gay. I thought they were going to make her gay with the sister. I'm like,
I didn't go that route in my mind.
I was like, you just can't have anything these days. I didn't like it. No, it's not true. I didn't dislike it. It's
kind of weird that you said this. She shows up to his dad's funeral
in hot pants,
in leather
pants,
hot pants.
I'm saying it's a little disrespectful.
She didn't even go to the funeral. She went to the reception afterwards in leather hot pants, and then convinces him to leave early.
Yes, she's
gives him a free house and a free car, and then decides to take him away from.
She's
his
a
family.
half-white savior. She's a half-white savior. I didn't feel for it. I think it really is Barbie broke me. And I'm like, I was waiting for this movie to at least make me angry, and it couldn't even make me angry. George Lopez his character was kind of annoying, but George Lopez is endearing. Yeah. So it works. But like, if anybody was kind of left out of the mix here, it was, I don't know how to pronounce the actor's name. Is it Solo or Zolo?
Zolo,
the actor.
Yeah.
The kid who plays, he got shortchanged because he really is just kind of generic good guy. He went to college. He's got a job. They could have fixed this by not making his story about how he can't find work. They should have just started him off as a junior lawyer at Cord Industries, not a guy who cleans the pools for Mrs. Cord and then gets fired because his sister takes a crap where she's not supposed to take a crap. It's stupid.
Yeah, he could have crossed paths with Jenny Cord in a different way.
Yeah.
Like they lean into the racial stereotypes. All the white people mispronounce everyone's name because white people are awful. We all know
Victoria
this.
Cord calls her henchman Sanchez.
Even though
not his name.
Yep.
What was his name, by the way?
I'm never gonna remember what his name was.
I don't think
in the credits they credited him as Sanchez.
Really?
So as far as I'm concerned, his name's actually Sanchez.
And the movie's racist.
And the movie's racist. And the actor who played Carapax was great. The guy who played the henchman turned good guy because they were never going to let him be a bad guy for the rest of the movie. I'm sick of redeeming villains. Let them be villains and let them do evil things and then die at the end. That's fine. Like, you don't need to. I saw that coming from a mile away. Both of those turns where they have Carapax turn and where they have Sanchez turn, that anyone could see that coming from a mile away.
I hated that Jaime kept trying to talk it out with the bad guys, and he has this conviction against being a killer, and he won't even kill these military guys who are about to kill his family in a firing squad. Because he has that conviction, and I just find that weak, and that's not the behavior of an actual hero. Like, you can't save anyone without, bringing open the possibility of killing anyone. I don't like that. I guess that's just a superhero trope in general, but I never liked that.
I wanted him to crack an egg on his sister's head because she was so annoying.
Yeah.
The sister was unbelievably annoying, and it really was a huge waste of Susan Sarandon, who wasn't given anything to work with. She's utterly forgettable in the movie. She doesn't play evil. I would have rather they gotten Jamie Lee Curtis.
It felt like Jaime won on accident and then never even got a chance to save Jenny.
Yeah. Kind of.
from
And
anything.
here's the other thing. They make a big deal where they're like, they're all mad at Jenny Cord because like he's got these powers now. I'm like, she told you not to open the box, bro. It's your own fault. You opened the box. Should have left it shut.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of, also they do the thing where they break tension where it's like the bad thing's about to happen. Like, who's going to interrupt and say something stupid? Oh, it's that. Oh, of course. It's so dumb. They did that in Violent Night.
Kid-friendly humor.
They did that in Violent Night at the end, and it's stupid and it's annoying.
I don't think it was all that kid-friendly either with the pendejo and like all the boner jokes. I don't know.
Look,
I think one
NF.
boner joke probably went over their heads. I'm hoping, little kids.
There were a few.
Is that where the blood flow is sort of being measured?
There were at least 3 boner
Okay,
jokes, and it just didn't seem that kid-friendly to me.
I would just rather they stop making it so that normal people who have not look all the dumpy women who are kind of overweight and out of shape save the day from a bunch of military people because they've got tech. It's not interesting. Otherwise, all you say there is just anybody could have been dropped in here to do this. You need to have heroes who actually work to get. Batman may not have superpowers, but at least he has done all the years of training and he's extremely intelligent. You don't want to have it.
Fascist.
He's a fascist,
You
right?
learned
So I'm just over it.
The
And it's
part
just-
where the grandma was like shooting out the military guys, and she's like, "Ha ha, die imperialists!"
Yeah. Oh, also like
It was corny.
yes. And then the flashback there, it just didn't work for me. But I can't hate it either because it wasn't defensive. It was just kind of poorly handled.
It's also a sweet family. It's hard to dislike.
It's hard to dislike a family that stays together.
They love each other. They're protecting each other. They're willing to risk their lives.
I walked out and I said, "It's cute."
Yeah.
When I kind of ranted. I'm sorry. Like
No.
I will say about one of the things that I thought was interesting is I really liked the music, but it felt like they dropped in serious music at moments where there wasn't serious things going on, and it was very noticeable. It was like intense electric score at periods where they were just like showing an establishing shot, but it wasn't the scene that was building tension, and it kind of threw me off. Did you notice that?
I didn't. One thing, I think we talked about this just recently. When you in a horror movie, you build things up slowly. The reveals come, like the Joker in the Batman movie from '89. You don't see him right away, and you think with a superhero movie, that should be the power is awesome. Yeah, and when it happens, it's amazing, and there should be this sense of awe. Yeah, and these movies are so quick and so just formulaic that they're just like, oh, he shoots beams, he does this and does that, and it's that sense of, oh my gosh, this is a super heroic moment. It's never in the movie. I mean, they don't even bother anymore.
I guess they kind of have him struggle with his desire to kill Carapax at the end.
Yeah, that was kind of.
But but it's like it never felt like there was buildup there. Yeah. Like he was always just generically good the whole time. Why would he be struggling with that now?
And there's no arc there either. It was like all of a sudden, like, oh, now I should kill someone because he's the bad guy.
It didn't defend me in any way. It was fine. Like I would say if I was to tell you to see it, I would say wait to watch it on Max.
Yeah.
I don't think it dictates. I don't think it like deserves the scale of going to the theater. There's a $20 one there from Disco Jensen, but it has no message. So thank you, Disco Jensen. But Mary, you walked out. You said it was fine. You liked it.
I said it was cute.
It was cute.
I didn't really like it.
Okay.
I don't know. I wouldn't ever rewatch it. I wouldn't have watched it if we weren't reviewing it, because you just know what you're walking into before.
There's certain movies that for me, like, I can't get angry at. Some are mad. Some are so bad, I'm furious because you just feel insulted. But like, did you see 80 for Brady?
I didn't watch
I
it.
didn't.
It was so inoffensive, so bland, but the women were lovable and they liked each other and they were sweet and there were some good jokes, and it's hard to even as a critic just like, oh, I'm going to pick it apart. No, it's fine. It's a shoulder shrug.
You wrote a review on it. What was your surmise?
I mean, I think we kind of summed it up here. I mean, it was forgettable. I enjoyed the cast. We've seen it all before. I mean, listen, I don't go to these movies for great dialogue, but could you give me something? Give me something. Instead of it's like, hold on to something. It's all those cliche lines and I've got this and all that stuff. It's just, you would think that when you're typing that out, it would hurt.
Yeah.
It should hurt.
Yeah. It's
You should wince. That should be the cringe of the day.
It's like Phil was saying, do it the dumb way.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So it's guys, I would say hold off and watch it on Max. It's inoffensive, but I don't know if it's worth your time.
Or just
going
don't.
To just worth your time going to the theater to see.
And now this won't make a lot of money, so I guess we won't see this character in another movie. You could throw him in like a Justice League-esque movie, I guess, like some sort of combo
He will.
movie.
I mean, Blue Beetle has always been better as a supporting character, not as
Yeah.
a main character. I think he'll probably end up appearing with Booster Gold, but like, I don't think they need to give him another movie. I think
Yeah.
that the young actor's likable and he's fine.
Yeah,
he
he's
might
fine.
be great. Just like a lot of people felt like the Flash didn't need his own movie. That you can let the Flash fill in. I mean, the people in the chat will argue about that because there's a lot of people who love the Flash too. But like, there's a lot of people who think like not every character needs a solo movie. So we just they clearly tried to set up
yeah.
for a sequel, but
I mean, but you leave that theater thinking, oh, I can't wait to see more of this.
Androvsky says Jeremy Johns said it's great if you're drunk. Assuming you're talking about this movie, that's me and Jeremy Johns have very much similar taste in movies. So it is what it is. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get some super chats, shall we, Mary?
Shane H. Wilder said, random question. Who would you consider part of PCC's Rogues Gallery? I've got Ezra Miller, Pinky Doll, and Sam Smith. No reason, just curious.
Wow.
That's a good question. Who is part of our Rogues Gallery?
Rachel
Ezra,
Rachel Zegler is
Rachel
in there.
Zegler's quickly
Julia
making-
Fox.
Emily Ratatouille.
Emily Ratatouille.
Who else? Are there any other people that we kind of people in the chat earlier when the show
Maybe Seth Rogen.
when the show was starting today, people were talking about how we talk about Taylor Swift all the time, but we don't hate Taylor Swift.
Do we talk about Taylor Swift that often?
They're like you talk about Taylor Swift so much that it's a meme. I guess Ezra Miller one was true. I guess the Taylor Swift one is true, but it's like she's a big part of the culture right now.
Oh my God, you can't ignore her. It's ridiculous.
People, you can't get away from her. So
Bender McSimpson said.
thank you.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
It's party time.
He said, Mary, can you scream or sing a random All That Remains lyric? The answer is no.
Oh.
Sorry. The Master of Violence. Oh, yeah, we already read that one. Victor Von Derp said, ever since they fired up the Hadron Collider and broke dimensional rifts, we've been farming the worst of interdimensional cable.
There's also a one up above there from Victor Von Derp.
Wasn't that it?
No, you just read.
Sorry. He
yeah.
said it might be interesting to tally up the losses that Kathleen Kennedy had a hand in causing the company. She has easily cost them $1 billion.
She's also like, according to Wikipedia, she's like one of the most like successful producers of all time. Just
Back in
because
the
of,
day, she
yeah.
had a great track record. She was with Spielberg and making those great movies.
because she had the no man. She had somebody. She wasn't in charge, right? Just like they say, like George Lucas was better off when he had people who would say no to him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that other one about the Hadron Collider was from Disco Jensen. Shane H. Wilder said, you will see a PCC trailer currently gathering assets and scripting it out.
Nice.
Damn it, I just revealed I was asking about the Rogues Gallery.
Ah, yes. Well, now you know about the Rogues Gallery. So you're gonna have to.
Our
Find...
villains are going to be in the trailer.
Yes, it's gonna be
saying weirdly threatening, ominous
fatalistic
lines.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. All right.
So my buddy John Nolte at Breitbart always has funny names for Kathleen Kennedy. Like he'll say Indiana Jones and Kathleen Kennedy must be escorted off the building.
Yeah.
All right.
We love John
amazing.
Nolte.
We want John Nolte on this podcast someday. Very, very badly. All right. Let's move on, shall we, Mary?
Okay, Hollywood is apparently sexist against women. I wasn't aware of this, but USC Annenberg's Inclusion Initiative has done a study on all of the movies in 2022 to find out that women don't get as many speaking parts as men.
And it hasn't improved much since 2008.
2007, right?
Yeah.
But 2007, like, when we had a more sane society,
Yeah.
and when feminism hadn't gone completely off the rails.
Yep. It says in 2019, 34% of speaking characters were female. In 2008, 32.8%. You know what it is the men, they're at home, they got their wives, they're talking all day, and they get to work, they're like, I don't want to listen anymore.
Do people look back at 2007 and think that we were living in The Handmaid's Tale?
Yes.
Or think about like 1950s housewives getting beaten for burning the dinner?
Yes, that's what they think.
Like,
That's what they think.
I'm really confused because when everyone else thinks about 2007, we think about like having way better entertainment.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because less women were included.
I was watching a video last night. It says there's the trend that says like F it so and so highlights, and then it plays like either Industry Baby by Lil Nas X or one of these other songs, and it's like highlight clips of athletes. And there's one that's like it's F it Megan Rapinoe highlights, and it's all her missing goals. And then I saw another one last night that says F it Jeff Jarrett highlights, and it's the pro wrestler Jeff Jarrett hitting women in the head with guitars from the early 2000s. It was very different entertainment back then.
Better.
I kind of wonder if they stretch that back to like the 80s and 90s, how the ratio would go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Would
they
it be
didn't.
the same, or I don't know?
They didn't study it all the way back, but they said despite seeing a 16-year high in leading or co-leading roles in 2022, which was 44% women, we saw almost no change since 2007 in the percentage of female identified
There's a
speaking characters.
There's a $20 one there from Lord Crimson TV.
With bonus holes, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He said, just popped in. Did y'all talk about how Netflix is copyright striking YouTubers on the YouTubers' owned content that they used in their Heard versus Depp docuseries?
Oh, wow.
P.S. They didn't get permission to use their footages either.
Does it become public domain on Netflix or on YouTube?
I don't know.
We had somebody reach out for us once when we were covering something and asked if they could
For a
use-
documentary for like the BBC or something.
Yeah, and they asked us if they could use what we had. I don't remember what ended up
it
coming
was
of that.
about
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, that was when Lauren
Yeah.
Southern was here, of all
Yeah.
things. But yeah, like they're striking down documentaries. That's crazy. Their own footage. Like, here's me in a video, and you're gonna tell me I can't use footage of me in your video that you took from me.
It seems like Netflix is just bad PR when they do stuff like that. It just seems unnecessary.
Yep. Do you think that women are held? See, what I think it is that what they don't realize is that women they do really, really well on TV right now. They do a lot of speaking roles and a lot of starring roles in television, right? Like, it feels like that's where they're.
I don't know. I mean, I got to think about that, but you would think there'd be more advancement, more opportunities, more female directors, but
they're not making movies for women. Barbie is the rare exception right now.
They think that Barbie did well because it was directed by a woman. Which is the stupidest observation that
crazy
you
pants.
could make about the success of Barbie.
Yeah.
it's because it was part of $1 billion property.
Because the person that directed it has a snatch, then that's why women are going to see it. Like, no, I don't think so.
And it was co-written by an evil man too, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah, the evil man that she's married
Smelly evil.
to. This from the LA Times says such a lack of progress prompts the question of whether Hollywood wants to change or whether it would rather rely on platitudes and promises instead of making progress.
Well, they did the same thing after
The progress has been platitudes and promises the
all
entire time.
Yeah, it's like after the George Floyd riots when they made promises about inclusion for various positions, and then they hired them and got rid of them a couple years later.
Yeah.
They say fewer than half of the leads were women of color, and only 5 leads were 45 years of age or older.
Again, they don't need to be old. I'm
They
sick
want
of that.
a bunch of grannies
I want
on our
hot,
movies.
young men and women in the movies and television shows. I don't want frumpy old
They wanted
people.
50-year-old Barbie.
I don't want 50-year-old Barbie. I want attractive people in these movies. I don't want ugly. If I wanted to see ugly or normal people, I would go to Walmart or Target and see people that look like me, or even a little bit better. Like, I don't need to see that.
Okay.
I want to see good-looking people.
Another thing that confuses me here, since this is from 2022, it says their report included an invisibility analysis to show how many films failed to feature even one female-identified speaking character from specific racial groups. In 2022, 0 films included an American Indian, Alaska Native girl or woman.
Wait,
Wasn't Prey that?
Yeah.
like representing women
But
of
it wasn't
native
in the
heritage.
theaters, maybe. That's
wasn't in
why.
theaters.
So it has to be
Yeah.
a theatrical release
Well, this
to make it into
the
their.
point of this topic was about the top 100 box office hits in 2022.
Okay.
How are there
Okay.
even 100 of them? Period.
And in that, they're
Mm-hmm.
analyzing like 68,000 something speaking roles.
And like I said, like the big part of it is that like a lot of these roles are going to women on television or streaming.
The Barbie movie did not pass the Bechdel test.
Really?
And that's well,
Come
I
on.
would if I had to guess. I
they,
think
they do.
they were
They talk
talking
about
about
patriarchy.
They were talking about patriarchy and talking about men,
But as women talking to women too, isn't that part of that test?
but they have to be talking about something other than
Other
men.
than men.
So the
Other than-
Barbie movie doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Women in real life don't pass the Bechdel test. And I don't see why it's so wrong that women talk about people and talk about men so much.
And also the groups that were underrepresented, they're pretty small minorities, I'm going to guess. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
less
true
than
though.
1% of the population.
But they want it to match the U.S. Census.
right.
It is true, however, that Hollywood right
so-
now, Hollywood thinks that only two groups exist: white and black. They do not act like I said. That's why Blue Beetle was
Based
a
on
big deal.
population density, it's kind of true. But I mean, Latino representation is lower than their population.
But isn't I thought the
United
Latino
States.
population is bigger than the black population, I thought.
I don't know.
I thought it was like 12%.
But they're
By
under-
10, yeah, by like 10%.
But they're underrepresented. Yeah, 25 or so. Like 20, but they're underrepresented in movies and television, and all they've got is what's his name from Spawn out here complaining about it.
But is that because there's some kind of nefarious agenda to not cast Latinos in movies?
I have no
I don't
idea.
think that there is.
I think that the culture just sees more social benefit in the black versus white argument.
You know, for what it's worth, I just interviewed Tyler Fisher, a comedian for my podcast, and he has said multiple agents have spoken to him and said, "You're a straight white male. I can't get your work." And actually, he played for me. He recorded one of the conversations. Like, it was happening so much. He hit record and played it for me. And the guy was basically saying, "Yeah, I can't get your work. I'm sorry." This was an agent, like a representative for him, trying to get him work in this field. He's a funny guy. He's an actor. He's good.
Yeah.
And his straight whiteness was hurting him. So
Yeah, this said that Asian characters increased from 3.4% of speaking roles in 2007 to about 16% in 2022.
But that's right. Everything.
No
everywhere,
differences
all at
observed
once.
for other racial groups.
It's just it's what we've always known, that Hollywood is all about platitudes and in symbols and grand gestures
Yeah.
in the verbal, but never in the actual action, right?
Well, I always go back to when Gina Carano was wildly, unfairly fired. There wasn't a single feminist in Hollywood who ran to her side.
Nope.
Nope, not a one.
What about, somebody in the chat says, what about the blatant ginger side going on in Hollywood right now? That's true. They are,
Yeah.
gingers are a minority in the world. They are underrepresented in society. And as far as I'm concerned, I will not rest until we've fixed this.
They're complaining that fewer than 1 in 10 directors in 2022 were women for these top 100 movies.
And the other thing about it is, like, when they make these movies, like, they're only going to give you the work if it's because they think that you can only tell stories based on your life experience, right? So they're only going to give you the work if you resemble the movie you're making, right? So the director who made Blue Beetle, is he going to get a lot of work outside of it? He's got a couple of films under his belt, but not a
They're
ton.
like, oh, you're
right?
the token guy.
You're
Do
the
another
guy-
token movie
Yeah.
for us.
Exactly, right? And that's not good either. Like, you need to let them, if they make something successful, if we're wrong and Blue Beetle ends up making money, then they need to reward that guy by letting him make the things he
It's
wants
not
to
going to
make.
make money.
But I'm just saying, like,
Hypothetically.
Yeah.
The people who made Black Panther. Should we, like, Ryan Coogler isn't kept to make just things
Yeah,
about
he's a good director.
he chooses to work on those projects. But
Yeah.
if he wanted to make something different, he would be allowed to, because he's proven that his ability to bring people to the theaters makes him worth the investment. And he's not a black director. He's just a really talented director who happens to also be black. And that shouldn't be a punishment, or that shouldn't be a good thing or a bad thing. It just is.
Yeah.
You should be fired based on merit, not based on what you look like.
And who you sleep with.
Exactly. That one's even older in Hollywood, right? Then that one's even more common.
Bring back the casting couch.
Yes, that's the real meritocratic
Someone
method.
clip that.
That's the real meritocratic method in Hollywood, to figure out whether you've earned your position or not.
Gosh.
Yes.
It's ironic that they're using this study to make an indictment of Hollywood and how their platitudes about being progressive and inclusive don't mean anything, instead of looking to themselves and wondering, why is it that our activism and advocacy networks don't make real world change? maybe we should rethink
Yeah.
the method we're using to go about this instead of
maybe fund scholarships for minority applicants,
Yeah.
perhaps, and or
instead
also-
of creating reasons for our own paychecks to exist.
yeah.
You know, they're looking at the failure of their own activism, and yet they continue.
I mean, part of it is that the activism is fake and phony, so there is some legitimacy.
Hollywood is
there.
just as phony
Yeah,
as
yeah.
these academics and the activists.
And the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative has been around since 2017. They came in just post after Trump got elected, and everyone in Hollywood's brains broke in half. And it's what's a good example? I mentioned Ocean's 8 yesterday. Ocean's 8 actually did all right, right? Ghostbusters flopped.
Yep.
The 355 was horrible. I'm trying to think of Atomic Blonde was good.
It made decent money, not great, but it was a good film.
But it was a good film,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Like, it can be done. I liked Peppermint. I don't think anybody else liked Peppermint but me.
I didn't, but I like Jennifer Garner.
To each their own, right?
Yeah,
Jennifer Garner's great. But it's like they're building these female stars now around their identities, which makes them inherently unlikable. Charlize Theron was likable before she went nuts. She was a star before she went nuts, and even then people don't really know about that. Like a lot of people just think of her as a talented actress first and not as a wild-eyed lunatic on the internet. So they're doing the women a disservice by making all the interviews about them about how they're breaking barriers, because it's inherently distancing and unlikable to the average, not unlikable, but to the average person, it's inaccessible. Like, they don't understand why that's important to the story when all the stories these days are like that. Back in the day, there'd be a couple of stories here and there about somebody breaking down barriers or crashing through the glass ceiling, right? Now, when every story's like that, it loses its luster.
By the way, I just spoke to Roseanne Barr. It's going to be an interview on Daily Wire pretty soon. And she talked about, when she was working on the original Roseanne show, she would fight very hard to get minority writers on the staff. And she claimed, this is her word, ABC may have a different perspective, that they were fighting her on that she had to like push it, while ABC Inc. was like, we don't want this, or don't go this, or didn't want that. So, and also Roseanne Barr was an absolute innovator when it comes to women. She had total control of that show, for better and worse. I'm sure she was a bit of a, I'm not talking about her weight, but she would throw her weight around on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, she had control, and that probably paved the way for other female artists who were able to have more power and tell their stories, have their vision.
I think a lot of it is like the powerful women are on TV. Think of Shonda Rhimes. Shonda Rhimes is unbelievably successful.
Yeah.
Not created.
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling created, or Tina Fey, or any of those women who they're not in the film space, they're in the television and in syndicated space, and but they're not going to focus on that because that would be good news. And things like the USC Annenberg Initiative don't want good news because it's bad for their brand. They need to.
Or if there is good news, it's always followed up with, we have so much work left to do.
That's right. We just scratched the surface.
100% of characters in movies are women. We've got so much work left to do.
They also wanted to mention that there's an underrepresentation of LGBT speaking roles. Of the top 100 films in 2022, 72 did not feature even one LGBTQ plus speaking or named character, and 84 were missing LGBTQ plus girls and women entirely. But like,
What's a woman?
that's a good question.
84% had no gay bonus holes.
Only one 22 character was coded as non-binary. That must have been the elemental
Coded.
blob.
But
of
also
water.
think about what they're saying.
Coded as non-binary. Why do we care?
Yeah.
Why do we care?
And also, in an average movie, there may be one or two people in a relationship or married or dating.
Yeah, we don't know if Uncle Rudy had a Grindr account secretly.
Here's the thing. They do that on purpose because when this is why they ruin it on television, right? So on television, it's pretty normal in season 1, and then once season 2 and 3 roll around, they're like, what are we going to do to make it interesting? Well, we could be good writers. That's a lot of work. Let's just make everybody this or that.
Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah. What else do you got? Right. So eventually you will find out that the reason Rudy never married is because Rudy was gay.
Perfect.
That's actually, no, was he married? I don't remember did he have a wife that died or something like that?
I don't remember anything with Rudy.
Well, if he did, he didn't like her, and he was secretly in a gay romance the whole time.
Well, he was married, but she hated his goatee so much that she left.
She just left him, and
They should have coded him as gay in the movie by showing him scrolling through Grindr on his phone.
That's it.
And that would
in a
have
pivotal scene.
Really, that
wait, hold
would've-
on.
Yeah, if all the kids in the audience who might be closeted and gay saw that, maybe they would have the courage to come out later in life. That's really progressive.
And dress like him.
Yeah.
It's all of it is
And
just,
wear jorts.
at the end of the day, just remember every time we cover one of these stories where the headline is this or that, in the back rooms of Hollywood, it doesn't really matter. They don't care. They don't care.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Let's go Super Chats.
Johnny Beck sent us a thumbs up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beck.
Victor Von Derp said, I have never even considered a difference of opinion in politics, religion, or philosophy as cause to withdraw from a friend. Thomas Jefferson.
Nor should you, my friend.
Well, the differences in opinions on politics, religion, and philosophy back then were probably lesser. But
I lost my best friend because of politics.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
We were super close. When I lived in D.C., he and I were best buds. Moved to Denver. He stayed in D.C. We've been kind of kept in contact. Everything was fine. And then, he was, I would say, center right. I'm right. But I know he hated Trump. So after a while, I didn't even talk about it. I did bring it up. Not a big deal. But then we're having a conversation one day, and we're talking about Governor Cuomo in New York and the Russia-Gate collusion thing. And I knew then that the collusion was nonsense. It was a fake story. And I knew that Cuomo was a horrible human being because I knew what was going on in New York. The nursing home situation. There's tons of stuff because I read different news outlets and he did. And we had a big argument about it, and we were kind of getting heated, but it didn't seem insane. I wasn't cursing him. He wasn't cursing me. And he said, I can't take this anymore. He hung up on me, and I haven't spoken to him since.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
Like, that's really, really sad. Lay that at the feet of the media.
Yeah, no, I agree. The media has done such a terrible thing to this country. It really has.
I mean, it's still our responsibility as individuals to be grown-ups, but still...
I agree, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for decades and decades, you put on the news, you watch the news. Yep. It was more or less the truth, give or take.
Oh, I don't even know if I buy that anymore.
I don't know if it was the truth, but I think everybody just kind of accepted mainstream narratives more.
Yeah,
we didn't have
and it was
to...
there was consensus because you only had so many places to get information from.
But I think now it's so dishonest, and there's such a need to divide us.
Yep.
Those are newer, I think. Yep.
Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Shane H. Wilder said, the snuggler sounds like an as seen on TV blanket.
It does, doesn't it?
It does. It sounds cozy.
Perfect. All right, let's hold off on the rest and we will come back when we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, there is an argument raging right now on Twitter/X, whatever you prefer to call it. And what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is whether or not the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are canonically black.
Yeah. Here's why this is happening. A TMNT fan, I can't imagine what kind of hate they're receiving right now. They had the gall to post some fan art drawing the Turtle Boys in the style of Spider-Verse, and also, I think, gender swapped them. And 3 of them are black. I think Leonardo is white.
Yes.
Or Leonarda. I don't know. And someone quote tweeted this.
I'm not gonna
said,
lie.
Aren't they canonically black?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I think Leonardo, as you say, like I think it is Leonardo rather than Leonardo because it's giving Ariel Scarcella vibes in the photo. A little bit. Looks a little bit like Ariel Scarcella. I just think that this is an unbelievably ridiculous thing to talk about. It really is. It's
and I was like, are they canonically black? Like I thought about it a little bit when we were watching the TMNT Mutant Mayhem, how they had like one black voice actor for one of the turtles and then the other ones were white.
So this is based off of a Boom Studios comic crossover from like last year in which the Power Rangers crossed over with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and they project an image that shows them as black.
And that's the official canon in these people's minds.
So
if
what
you
it is
throw
here,
them a bone, they will bring it up as often as possible.
Here's the thing: when people talk about canonical, when they talk about things being, and here's the image, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see an image from the thing, you can see them there. The reason they do this is because it's all about conquering the culture. It's about changing something that once was one thing and making it another thing for the sake of Marxist style revolution of all that mattered to your culture.
If there is a property this old, this is like 40 to 50 years old at this point, I don't consider anything post maybe 2015 to be canon.
Yeah.
It's not done by the original creators. It was done by activists.
A comic being made in the year 2022 doing this screams of pandering to identity politics obsessed weirdos. And you share with us some of the people's responses to finding this out.
Yes. Someone said, it's official and canon that every member of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in their human forms are all black teens. Holy F, I'm gonna go cry because at first they only showed Mikey and Donnie, but now Raph and Leo are too. This panel from Boom Studios comic crossover with the Turtles shows them choose their true form. Holy F, the feelings of joy I have are overwhelming right now. My turtle boys are all black like me. My turtle boys are black. Crying emoji, crying emoji. I am a blubbering, sobbing mess with a constant stream of tears over this. And it's just the best feeling, but I can't even see at the same time.
It might prove my argument wrong. When I told Mary earlier in the year, I said, for the next 10 years, Hollywood needs to do no human characters and just animals, because that way we won't have to worry about the race of characters.
Their brains have been broken so badly that you can't escape the race conversation with anthropomorphic characters.
Nope, you can't do it at all.
Even when you have a character that is literally a blob of water, it will be non-binary coded.
It's non-binary water.
It doesn't even have genitalia. It's a blob of water.
Like Barbie.
And you're not allowed to just have turtles, because that would just be too bland. It would be too fun for the people who actually love these properties. People who love identity politics love to read into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
At Boom Studios, y'all just don't understand how much this means to me and so many other people. I cannot thank you enough for helping me and others feel seen.
So we
Why
solve
do you need to
racism.
feel
That's,
seen?
that's exciting.
It's solved
You need to feel
racism.
seen because mommy and daddy did not make you feel seen.
Yeah.
Period, point blank.
And it's just funny. I really do believe that it really comes down to just, it's about destroying the culture. It's about taking everything you loved from your childhood, taking everything that mattered to a society at one time. Doesn't matter how vague and random the cultural touchstone was. It's about, it's why they tried to pretend like the pencil shading of April O'Neil and the big 80s hair made her black in the old Eastman and Laird panels, which even though both of the people who created Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have said multiple times, no, she is not. Her name is named after a mixed race woman that one of them dated, but was not black. She was Asian. It's not true. It's done to keep people fighting. It's done to give these people who are obsessed with identity politics and obsessed with Marxism, to give them something to hold on to. If it was actually about representation, it would be about new characters.
You know, I look back to the late 60s when Captain Kirk and Uhura had their interracial kiss, and that was a major moment in history.
Yeah.
That was a first or a second in television. Like, it just didn't happen. And I look toward our culture today, and all we see are, interracial, marriages. I mean, it's such a vastly different world. Why do we need these micro moments to make us feel better? It just seems like such an odd thing. Like, back then it mattered. It was important. It was so it mattered to society. But to lean into this, and a lot of this is performative. It's like, oh my God, I'm blubbering. It's a lot of nonsense. But
Like,
why?
are you really?
Yeah,
Because if you are, I'm worried about you. But I
yeah.
think you're just performing that for clout on social
There's
media.
a lot of that too. But why even the need for it? The hunger for it? I mean,
They're turtles.
Like, there have been black figures in pop culture for decades and decades.
Yeah.
I mean, the combination of, like, MLK Jr., Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, like, you could count them all together. That's not enough. You have to make the turtles black.
Yep. You have to change everything.
I'm not
right?
seen until the turtles are.
Like I said,
You don't feel seen until then.
They changed April in the new movie, and then they pretend like we just we wanted to make her more relatable. What does that actually mean? It doesn't mean anything. They wanted.
It's more relatable because she's fat and ugly like you guys. Like,
right.
it's almost insulting.
Yep. It's all unbelievably stupid, and I would say I'm sick of it. But like this stuff is uniquely Twitter. This is Twitter X, this is terminally
Pronouns in bio.
terminally online behavior, but it speaks to why these topics matter. Why does it matter? Because it was culturally relevant. You could talk to anyone my age and they will know something about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's a powerful bit of culture to be able to wield. Something that mattered that much to that many people.
They've already been depicted in human form, by the way. There was like a screenshot of the TMNT as humans in a Nickelodeon show from like probably not that long ago, the 2010s or something, where they're white kids. And no white people were on Twitter saying, my turtle boys are white like me. I'm crying. Like it wasn't a big deal then. And it wasn't official canon when that happened, but it's official canon now.
Yeah. They need to. It's why I'm annoyed that they don't do more with the characters they have in creating more characters. It's because the IP farms that are Hollywood studios aren't willing to wait for these new franchises to become culturally relevant, right? First of all, they're having a hard time making new things culturally relevant anyways, which is why they keep going back to the old stuff, right? They want the member berries, they want the stuff that's built into it, but they're not willing to use the ones that actually work. They're only willing to change because, one, the worst of the worst are just glad because it leads towards revolution. It's about destroying your culture. The less worse, but just money hungry are just doing it because they think it's an easy way to make a quick buck.
Did you watch the Mutant Mayhem movie?
I didn't see it, no.
Okay. I thought it was really good. I'm not like a fan of TMNT, so I'm not judging it in comparison to the other movies. Brett said it's a good movie, but not a good TMNT movie,
That
which
is
is
true.
It loses on a technicality, but I think it was great. And I wouldn't have expected that from Seth Rogen. But anyway, I wanted to ask you, how much do you think representation matters in entertainment? Like, are you willing to cede that, sometimes it matters for little kids to see people who look like them?
Yeah, no, to a certain degree, sure. Like I mentioned, like in the 1960s, if you turn on the TV and everyone's white and you're a black child growing up in a city and you don't see yourself on TV, then that does matter. And we've heard stories over the years of middle-aged to older actresses of color saying those stories and saying,
Well, what
oh my
about in
gosh.
this day and age?
I think it's wildly different. I mean, we go to these extreme lengths to say, well, it's the first female superhero movie, Wonder Woman. Well, we had Supergirl, we had this, we had that. It's this weird flex to kind of go to these places. I think our culture has been diversified in such a wonderful way that it doesn't seem necessary. It just doesn't to me. I don't know. Again, I'm the white guy. Maybe that's my misperception. But I see so much change. I see so much progress. And to me, I would get upset if an actor of a certain background was not accepted, was denied a job, was being punished because they're black, because they're gay, because that upsets me. And that's legitimate. And that's something we should all work to stop. But this whole representation game is just, most of all, it's exhausting. I can't imagine living like that. Yeah. Oh my God, the Turtles, I love them, but gosh, if they're only black like me, who thinks like that? It just seems like, how do you live your life? There are so many film critics who will review a movie and then count up the people of color or say, well, the villains.
That's literally what that topic we were just covering. Yeah. That's what that group does. The USC Annenberg Initiative. That's literally their job.
And that's literally their job. And I cut them some slack because it's giving us data. It's giving us a service in a sense. And you could agree, disagree. But when you're a film critic, this is a great example. Jim Gaffigan made a movie a couple of years ago. It was about a father and son. It was all this dysfunction. And he read some reviews about it. They might have been talking to Joe Rogan. And he said, some of the critics didn't like it because it was about a father and son. And they said, why wouldn't it be about a daughter, a mother and daughter? And like, because it's not.
Because that's not what this story is.
That's what the story's about.
And that's really all. If they let these directors make the movies they wanted to make, all they have to say is like, that's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
You can tell that story. I'm telling this story.
And go tell a mother-daughter story. That's wonderful. That's not this movie. Yeah. And why can't you enjoy this movie on its own terms?
Dustin the Wind says Tom Cruise is the last samurai. Yes, but Ken Watanabe defended that portrayal, so he's allowed. He's allowed to do that. I will say, I do think there's an argument to be made that as somebody who is white and grew up in America, that there is a blind spot there. It's like, look, you did grow up seeing most characters look like you, so you can't really quantify to the level of somebody else what they're feeling, but it does feel like it's been overdone.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. but it's so exhausting that like could we at least keep it to human characters? Maybe if we could just keep it to human characters, it wouldn't feel like we're going off the rails here.
And often it interrupts the story. There was a movie a little while ago called A Man Called Otto with Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a remake of I don't know, it's a foreign film. I'm not sure what the country of origin was. But it's about this guy who's set in his ways. He's older. He's cranky. He's from the old school across the board. And then the movie introduces a trans character. And Tom Hanks's character is accepting of this character. They become friends. And I'm thinking, that guy wouldn't be so instantly accepting of a trans person. Just wouldn't.
No.
It doesn't mean that you should be mean to a trans person, but it doesn't make sense. But they wanted to put a trans person in the movie. That's where they shoved that character in, and it didn't flow with the story. That's the kind of stuff that bugs me as a critic.
Not even necessarily that he like would refuse to be friends with or associate with someone who's trans, but not even a questioning of it.
Yeah, or the awkward scenes, or I'm
awkwardness
confused, or whatever.
confusion,
You
yeah.
know.
Hollywood did more good in the 80s and the 90s by just allowing people to kind of learn to exist together on screen than they're doing now.
Yeah,
By
I think
far.
the 90s were better than the 80s. I think
Yeah.
there was still
The-
some significant bigotry going on, or whatever you want to call it. It wasn't as evolved. I think the 90s were far superior.
The
in that way.
90s did a really, really good job of like just letting people exist on screen. Like I said, when we were watching Rise of the Beasts, and there's this discussion that's going on in the movie that's racialized and stuff like that. There wasn't as much of it, but even the capitalism line from the one character who would have never said that in the 90s, like they don't understand what made the 90s work.
Yeah.
Why it was so special. Like why? Like I was talking to someone, they used people of all races, creeds, and colors back in that time period. Not necessarily like the guy who was the dad from Family Matters. What was the dad?
Was it Reginald Van Johnson?
He's the guy. He's the cop. Is he a cop? Who's the one who's the?
Yeah, I know who you're
But
talking about.
but he was also the cop in Die Hard.
Die Hard, yeah.
But it's saying like it was what it was, and we were much better off when it wasn't shoved in your face. They haven't learned their lesson. It's why I hated Justified City Primeval so much, because they made race a huge part of the discussion right off the bat, and it didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
They have great scenes with what is the actress? The actress in that show. There's a black actress in the show. She's phenomenal. She doesn't get a lot of screen time, but when she does, like at least in the early seasons, and they do a scene where basically she has him come along with her to talk to people in Harlan, because she says basically it's like, oh, they're all very polite when you meet them, but then when the cuffs come out, the racial slurs start being said, and that was done really, really well
Yeah.
at the time, because she's not looking at him like he's a bad person because he came from that place. Right? It's done with nuance, it's done with care, and that's a show that has families that have Confederate flags all over their houses.
Yeah.
Right? Somehow they did it better in 2010 when they weren't focusing on it as heavily than they do now, when it's the forefront of every discussion they have. Erica Tazell, that's her name. That's the actress's name.
By the
She's
way,
fantastic.
I remember rewatching. It's such a great movie. I could watch it again right now. Silence of the Lambs, and it's about this young female FBI agent, Clarice Starling, and she's the hero. But they show the sexism within the FBI in such subtle but beautiful ways. There's one scene where she walks in the elevator and everyone behind her is a dude. Everyone behind her is much taller, and she feels so intimidated and so small. And it's just like just a little moment. Like, okay, we got it. We got it. There's sexism there. She's a fish out of water. She's up against it. And and there's a couple other scenes just like that really show you the dynamic and what she's working with. And you don't have to give a speech. She doesn't get up and
Show, don't tell.
She's no girl boss.
Yeah.
But she also is the hero, and she also saves the day, and she's brave and she's strong.
But they
and
wouldn't
she
let
shows
her
what's
do that
going
now.
on.
They wouldn't let her be vulnerable now.
Yeah,
They wouldn't let her look scared.
Yeah.
The other was like, think about the X-Files. Gillian Anderson played a doctor who worked for the FBI, and that was somehow not seen as girl boss in any way, shape, or form.
'Cause she was real.
Yes. So, All of it is very stupid, and the turtles are not humans anyways. So the discussion is dumb. It's dumb.
I mean, they're obviously Asian. I mean, wait, no, wait.
Exactly.
Wait, they're Irish. No, sorry.
Italian. They're technically Italian because they were
They like
named
pizza,
after
yeah.
Italian Renaissance painters, right? So
I love how this morning you were like, I have 5 words to say about this. This is effing stupid.
I didn't count beforehand.
This is
effing stupid. I didn't count. I had to add a word in there. So it's all,
really effing stupid.
or no, because what were we talking about recently? What movie were we talking about recently? Oh no, I'm sorry. I watched Twisted Metal, and Samoa Joe plays Sweet Tooth, but then they have Will Arnett do the voice. And I was trying to think of another example where that happens in the movie. And in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they had a different actor do Shredder's voice than actually played the character. So, but that happens in movies. I mean, I think
Vader.
like in the, exactly. And, or even like in the Scream movies, it's Roger L. Jackson does the voice on the phone.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
We got
he's,
one from Rhaegar Targaryen. Okay, let's go. Street sharks are Mexican. SWAT cats are Chinese. Captain Bucky O'Hare is Samoan. All the Transformers are Japanese. Even Jazz. Animaniacs are Jewish. DuckTales are Latinx. Tailspin are Indian. Happy now?
Yes, I'm very happy now.
This is all canonical, so we're good.
It's
Official canon.
It's official canon.
You can't argue with that.
The reason why I bring up the word canonical is they use that as a dunk. Like every time they've retconned something in Star Wars, they're like, it's canon now. It's canon now. So-and-so got so-and-so,
Canon.
so-and-so, like, S'd another dude's D. It's canon now. He's gay. Take that, you incels.
Tossed his salad.
Take that, you incels. He liked it. He said it in the comic. He said he liked it. So, all right, let's go to Super Chats.
Heavy Burn Man said, sorry, I already read that one. Disco Jensen said, I see Snoop Dogg doing Petco commercials. I remember when he was on trial for murder and acted hard the entire time. Celebrities all morph into soulless clowns eventually.
Yeah, but Snoop Dogg gets a pass because he's been kind of like, there's a meme that goes around, says Snoop Dogg finished the game years ago. He's just on side quests now because everything he does looks so random. You know, kind of like how people go, ooh, Bill Murray, he's so random. He got behind the bar. He started serving. Snoop Dogg is the living embodiment of that. He just goes around and does random stuff.
He's not pretending not to be rich.
Yeah. Also, from what I understand, he's still allowed to be, kind of like, a lot of people say that he's still a gang member and he's like still allowed to do that and just kind of gets a pass.
Doubt it.
Yeah.
Is Pimp Hand strong? I don't think so.
Well, no, there's that famous interview. It was like it was on Breakfast Club where the lady's like, she's like, with all like the female empowerment stuff going on right now, she's like, how do you feel about some of your old lyrics that were kind of misogynist? He says, nah, fuck that shit. Fuck these hoes. He says, F these hoes. That was me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Carnell said, it's rather bizarre claiming that the turtles are somehow black when you consider they live in the sewers of New York City. I also find it weird when people online race swap DBZ characters, Dragon Ball Z characters, considering the Saiyan race are pretty much apes, SMH. It's
like, did you see the thing that that Tim posted recently, the Trump as Goku?
Yeah.
Tim loves it. It makes him happy.
Terrence Rice said, just copped them new Raytheon 13s.
Let's go, dude! I'm gonna start. You got to get the drip collection. We got to get the Mark Wahlberg thing.
Designer got me drip.
And we need that. Only it's Mark Wahlberg, man. Like Mark Wahlberg advertising Raytheon and Boeing clothes. That would be amazing.
Okay. Disco Jensen said TikTok is CCP poison psyop demoralization tool, and what trends on it is proof.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that. In TikTok, thankfully I don't have a TikTok.
Are we just bad, and the algorithm on TikTok is reflecting that?
No, I don't think so.
No, because there's so many people.
Are we just in dire straits, and what we post is reflecting that?
There's so many people who make great content that just never make it to the algorithm because it's not insane. It's the world we live in.
Matthew Williams said, the men that stormed the beaches of Normandy got spanked. They weren't redirected with positive energy and good vibes. Also, worse happens to your birthday. Wait, what?
I think he's talking about because we were talking about the spanking earlier in the videos. What I find abhorrent about those videos is that they're posting it on the internet. More than anything, it's that they're cracking eggs on their kid's head for clout. That's what's abhorrent
Well,
about
if they did it like without filming it, you would consider it.
I don't know
just
what.
fine.
I don't even know what I would think about it. I know that posting it on the internet is stupid.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Disco Jensen said the current generation considers asphyxiation and killing brain cells for lack of oxygen a high. We're doomed.
We are doomed. And the funny thing is, there was a Criminal Minds episode about that in like 2009.
I mean,
Not about the social media part, but about like kids were doing it
this is
as
less
like a trend at a
extreme,
school.
but like when you drink alcohol, you're killing brain cells. When you smoke a cigarette, you're also getting oxygen deprived. You're killing brain cells.
Well, you're not supposed to.
But
be
there are
doing those.
there are more dignified ways to kill your brain cells that look cooler.
And look, I did a lot of drugs in my lifetime. I made a lot of mistakes, as I've talked about numerous times on this channel. I am not one to tell you what you should or should not do on most things. I do feel perfectly fine telling you not to choke yourself.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah.
By the way, who's worse, the mom who's cracking the egg on her kid's head, or the person who says, "I gotta follow her. She's amazing." That's kind of worse, right?
This is the content I
That's
come here
right.
for.
Yeah.
Like that's
More eggs, please.
yes.
A lot of women who say delete us the fetus are probably in the comment section applauding it.
Oh, there's a reason to have a kid now. Oh my goodness.
So I can hurt it!
So I can hurt the child.
Dr. Platty said, I hope I haven't come off as clout chasing
Yes.
while being friendly to PCC and friends.
You are not clout
No.
chasing, my friend.
You have good taste.
You're just discerning.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Heavy Burn Man said 700 people watching and barely 200 likes. For shame, like the stream. Where are we at now?
Let's find out. I can look that up. We are at 306 likes. Let's get
This
another.
is shameful.
Yeah, guys, come on.
We deserve better. Jacob Edler said Fast and Furious running out of gas is Greta Thunberg propaganda.
I'm here. Like, and then Greta's the one that like
They have to
Yeah.
get into electric vehicles.
You know, they have the hot chick who like waves the flag to
Yeah.
start the race. It should be Greta, just like
Oh my gosh, that
Wagging
would be
your finger, you know?
amazing. Like, she's like,
extreme close
and
up.
it's like, how dare you? Yeah, that'd be great. I'd watch that.
The last of my kind said, howdy y'all, waffles are better than pancakes.
This
is true.
Really.
That's right. I think.
No,
This is
I'm
true.
on board.
that's propaganda.
It's got the nooks and crannies that the butter goes in. It's amazing.
It's propaganda.
You're just wrong, Brett. I'm sorry. You're wrong.
You
Overall.
guys are wrong, but I admire how sure you are. of
I thought that
yourself.
we already established this. French toast, then waffles, then pancakes.
French toast, then pancakes, then
No.
waffles.
Just no. The last of my kind, or sorry, Shane H. Wilder said generic evil white lady trademark.
Yeah, that's literally who she is.
Yeah.
Like that review kind of went off the rails, but like she's generic evil white lady in that movie.
The last of my kind said Young Justice versus Reach storyline is awesome story. I recommend season 1 and 2 of Young Justice.
I wasn't a huge Young Justice fan. I'm a Justice League and Justice League Unlimited fan, but I know a lot of people love Young Justice. Of the animated series, I would still go with Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond, probably above all those, and then Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. That's just me.
Quite Blackpilled said, let's get started.
Yeah, like, well, you know, we're
2 hours and 10 minutes into the
13
show.
minutes in. Let's get going.
Getting started.
We're just warming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Dreamcast Knight said, as someone who knows nothing about Blue Beetle, he looks like Spider-Man from Infinity War with the blue Iron Man flair.
Yeah, Iron Spider.
Yeah.
And also they did a lot of the scenes evoked Iron Man when he was fighting Carapax in the thing in Iron Man 2. It's really, really interesting. They very clearly borrowed from elements of that. They did okay with the CGI. With the budget, the CGI was fine.
Victor Von Derp said, if they wanted to be representative of reality in Hollywood, they would have a bunch of uncredited Hispanics just wander onto the set. That is all.
That's not nice. It's very mean.
Victor Von Derp said, I just don't know how to pronounce this. It wasn't
Mutagen.
mutagen.
It was
It
Jerry
was Jerry
Curl.
Curl.
It was mutagen, okay?
wow.
The turtles had mutagen.
Seth Essington said, in my opinion, it would be a nightmare as a filmmaker to tick off all these identity politics, diversity boxes, and still have a good film.
People say that all the time. They say it's getting impossible to make the movies
Who's
because
enforcing it, though?
the studios are. The studios are putting regulations on who you can hire, what your story's about. If they're
Why don't women have more than 50% of the speaking roles in that case?
Hollywood doesn't care.
They may care more about diversity than women. Maybe that's the benchmark.
Women aren't diverse enough. Sorry.
Probably.
It was like, did you ever see, there was that article a couple years ago. It said like black men are the white men of black people. Like, that was when I realized that we hit peak insanity in society. That's a real headline.
I've heard that.
Yeah, we live in insane times.
What do they, was it the brown face of white supremacy?
Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy.
You know, if you write that headline and you just can't have any awareness and say, wait, what I just do?
Yeah.
What's
You need to
bonkers.
rethink your life.
Stu, come over here. I just wrote this thing. Is this crazy or is it me?
Shane H. Wilder said, who cries over representation by turtles?
People who live on Twitter all day.
Yeah.
Sorry, X all day.
I just don't believe it. I think he's just
Yeah.
tweeting like, I'm crying.
I'm a blubbery mess.
Shane H. Wilder said, also, wouldn't Mikey just be a beach bum?
Yes, he would. I'm sure Mikey would.
People said, like, I imagined him as a white surfer dude.
Kind of, Mikey's great.
Cowabunga. Disco Jensen said, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Disco Jensen.
You too. Heavy Burn Man said, crisis party, like the video.
Thank you.
Grofty said, my Roomba is still a crazy robot.
There you go.
But is it canonically black? Is your Roomba canonically black?
It matters.
This
It
matters. I would cry. Heavy Burn Man said, potato cakes over French toast over waffles over pancakes.
Oh.
Potato cakes? What is that?
My dad used to make potato pancakes.
Hash browns? Like,
Potato pancakes, you put syrup on them.
here's a thought experiment. So what if are they still alive, the creators of the Turtles? The guys
Eastman
who did
and
it?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if they came out and said, listen, they're white, end of story. They would probably get attacked for that.
Yeah.
But
Like
they
that would
wouldn't
draw ire.
do that.
I know they wouldn't. I'm just
Yeah.
saying a thought experiment. Like, what if they did that?
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. We love that you love the cartoons, the characters, but they're white. It just is what it is. And then
In their human form.
and then there'd be the hostage apology. I'm so sorry. I'm an ally.
I did not
Like,
mean
it
I
would
didn't
make some
realize it.
sense if the mutation made them go from human to turtle.
Yep.
But they were already turtles.
Yes.
They were born in a pond.
Yes.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, Christian, did you watch Secret Invasion, and how excited are you for Agatha, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, and Daredevil Reborn? Also, Larry Elder was on Breakfast Club since you mentioned him. It was wild.
Oh, I can imagine that. I'm behind on all the Disney Plus shows. I let my subscription lapse. There's so many things I need to watch. I'm kind of struggling to catch up with stuff. And I just hear so much meh about all these things, and I just.
Did you see that? Like, it costs like $250 million to make Secret Invasion.
Oh,
It costs like some abs. It's a money laundering.
insane.
It's money laundering, dude. It's like it's so bad. The only one of those mildly worth looking forward to is Daredevil Born Again, because there's already weird propaganda pieces coming out talking about how it's gonna be dark and gritty. I'm like, meh, not gonna happen. It's gonna be stupid and dumb, and nobody's gonna care.
did you like the original show?
I
did too.
The original Daredevil is
Charlie
as
Cox,
good
right?
is
Yeah.
as good as you can get with superhero television.
I completely agree.
Those first two seasons are phenomenal.
And great fight scenes
Yes.
too. Great characters, good actors, interesting, everything.
It's a damn shame.
Yeah.
And I don't have a Disney Plus subscription, so I can't go watch it now.
Yeah.
Arr, matey.
I signed up for that, and then I just watch Infinity War like 6 times, and I
Called
let
it
it
a day.
lapse. I'm out.
Grofty said, my Roomba is getting into strange spaces. It's a black Roomba. That's a weird connection. I would bet the majority of Roombas are black, but
I think the one we have here is
white Roombas are underrepresented. And honestly, I'm offended about it.
okay. All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Like I said, hit the like button.
Smash it.
Before we go, smash the like. Well, no, I say gently tap the like button. I am going to end the poll just to see what everybody thought today. And with 58% of the vote, they say that, yes, cracking an egg over your child's head is, in fact, abusive. Thoughts? Do you agree?
Specifically if
For
it's on
clout.
TikTok.
For clout.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
for clout. Yeah, it's
That's the game changer.
just don't do things for clout, people. It's a bad look, as they say. So hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Thank you very much for that. Christian, my friend, thank you.
This has been a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
Yep. My website is hollywoodintoto.com. Yes, the last name is silly, but it is mine. And the podcast is the Hollywood in Toto Podcast.
All right, perfect. Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
Perfect. If you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter/X. I almost said TikTok for some reason, at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This podcast, Pop Culture Crisis, is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to follow the show on social media, we're on Twitter/X at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We had a couple of videos there that did very, very well this week. One cracked 1 million views, so go ahead and follow us over there. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.